held you up a little bit over here. That was nice of it.
The problem is you're so fast on the straight and then slow on the corner. But I guess that's the practice.
Yep. How's the car feel with the lower tire pressure?
Feels better on the low speed, but not as good on the high speed.
Okay, so we'll leave them where they are.
Yeah.
Just leave them where they are.
Although the only thing I'm curious, is there a pressure difference between left and right?
They're all pretty feedback.
Yeah.
All right, whenever you want to go out. You put the left back up.
What's up, guys? I'm breaking into my intro because Scott Fabian Liberty is fucking roasting it over on the debate championship tonight. His opening statement is fucking baller. Stand by. We're gonna watch a little bit of it. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'll have it up. He is roasting. He's winning this debate in the opening statement, which is what you're supposed to do.
Sold on this lie that we were going to keep the gold standard up, and 2 years later, Harry S. Truman puts Harry Dexter White, who was a known communist spy who funneled money away from the Chinese nationalists over to the Maoists to help China become a communist nation and fight the civil war that led to the bloodshed of millions.
There's the right one.
In charge of the International Monetary Fund, which is another system that we use.
Hopefully you guys got volume. This dude is ripping
nations into debt so that they're forced to be a client state to us. This does not help us economically. It helps the rich. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help the American taxpayer. It doesn't help the little guy working at a factory. And again, we saw the Iran-Contra in the 80s. And so what was the response? What we did is we set up the National Endowment for Democracy Fund. We set up the Foreign Relations Council. We set up all of these systems that are supposedly pro-democracy, pro-good. And what they really are is a means of using CIA
Let me rewind it.
your tax dollars to take away the democratic will of those people. It has cost us lives. It has destroyed us. Yeah, I think it's evil.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, stick 'em, boys.
Just want to address the first thing up front. I come from a military family. Dad, several uncles, cousins, uncle and aunt were in the Navy, so I understand where you're coming from there. I'm also an individualist and get that each of these people is a father, brother, mother, uncle. So, as I said, I'm not John Bolton. I'm not going to throw their lives away willy-nilly. It's an absolute last resort. So I understand what's at risk when you put boots on the ground. And
I disagree with your assessment, but I understand empathetically, right? Like if you were saying that we ought be involved in nations, right? That we ought be involved in pressuring them. And then that blowback eventually leads to war, right? Then the precursor to that was an understanding that this might lead to the deaths of those people, that some of those people are going to go to war, come back broken, and then they're going to kill themselves. And you're okay with that because you believe that possibility and those human lives and the human lives of people killed in those countries, that hopefully we can avoid that, but that might be the ultimate thing. But in the long run, it'll be better if we somehow utilize our pressures to force them or to encourage them towards, what
I have to share this with everybody. It's fucking system. Awesome.
Well, I disagree. I think that there's actually a much better way to do this. And the much better way to do this is the way that Trump did it. Right. Now, obviously not some of the crazy shit Trump's saying now, but when he had some of the best things that Trump has stolen under his first presidency, value, probably the best thing he ever did was have Jared Kushner negotiate.
Oh, because I have his video up too. Bear with me, guys. I'm just trying to get to the point where he starts fucking cooking. Hey, Michelle, what's up? All right, guys, I got it now. We got it. Let me just move this over here and go widescreen. Hide that. All right, we're back up. There we go. This opening is killer.
Oh, also one
You
last
want to know what
housekeeping note,
actually,
because we're getting better.
if you want to know what a real fucking opening statement is, it kills. Scott's delivers one. He's winning this debate in a fucking opening.
Confused. All right, same thing. Maybe literally got 5 to 7 minutes. We'll just call it 7 minutes from now on. I'll give you a countdown to 2, 1, and 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, I will say I will do my best to not get angry and get involved in character assassinations. I appreciate that that you have that commitment, but I make no promises. I make no promises because I'm a vet. My dad was a vet. His dad was a vet. His father was a vet, all the way up to General Winfield Scott. I've known a lot of people that went to war. I didn't go to war myself, luckily enough. I got my GI Bill, and a lot of them came home broken, and some of them killed themselves. And so when I hear people simp for
Michelle, you can come on up if you like.
Friends, and I hear people simp for wars that kill innocents, and those horrors.
Interrupted my own opening.
Sometimes I start seeing a little red, so I'll do my best. But no promises. In terms of isolationism versus interventionism, it's a bit of a false debate because context is needed in almost every situation, right? I don't think anyone is purely isolationist. I don't think anyone is purely interventionalist. I mean, if you are purely interventionalist, then you mean to take over the entire world by any means necessary. If you're purely isolationist, then you're like against trade deals, I guess. Like you like much of what my opponent is going to talk about are things that we absolutely agree on, right? I think we agree on free trade agreements. I think we agree on securing borders. I think we agree on diplomatic attaches and possible transferring of prisoners under certain situations. And I think we would even agree on certain things such as like sanctions, when they are appropriate. But we need to go into some of the nitty gritty of like how interventionalism works historically as the United States and why it has been a failed philosophy over and over and over and over and over again. It's not a couple of recent modern examples, but from its very inception, it has made the world worse and it has made the world less safe. It has stolen property and value and progress and human lives and led to death and suffering and economic disaster throughout the entire world. So first of all, like what is interventionism is based upon a philosophical false premise, which is the collective security doctrine, right? It is this Westphalian Treaty concept and the United Nations in which upon it builds itself, this concept that every nation has these borders and that if another nation interrupts or interferes with these borders, that is somehow wrong and that is somehow evil. And it is a false analogy to a private property owner and police protecting private property. But none of these nation states in the world, with the exception of like a few anarchist communities, gained those borders peacefully. All of them stole that land. Everyone everywhere is on stolen land from people that were murdered. And so this concept that we draw this line in the sand at a historical date, and now we must commit resources and our wealth and the lives of our people to stop some other country from encroaching upon another country, is based upon, this status quo, this order maintenance. And is that order good? Well, in some instances it may be, and in other instances it isn't. But nevertheless, it's a status quo. It's an order-based system. So there are kind of two major types of
Scott's rocking it here, guys.
The first,
you don't know.
Which is, I think, the primary thing that, as my opponent brought up, is like these wars, these, bringing in troops, these, bombs, these situations. And these wars over and over and over again have been shown to protect corporations, protect corporate assets, and to protect the United States dollar. I mean, ever since 1957, when the Eisenhower Doctrine was established, we as America chose and said that we were going to be the police that made the Middle East a safer place. Well, it's been 70 years. How much progress have we fucking seen in the Middle East? We've seen a lot of death. We've seen a lot of trillions of dollars being spent, a lot of U.S. tax dollars, a lot of foreign aid, a lot of military troops, and every single time time, with the exception of Operation Provide Comfort, which nobody even fucking knows about, where we moved the Kurds peacefully, it has ended and resulted in trillions in dollars in debt and failed nation states and maintain the power of evil regimes like Saudi Arabia. Somalia, destroyed. Iraq, destroyed. Afghanistan, destroyed. Libya, destroyed. Syria, destroyed. Iran, destroyed. Every single time we have gotten involved since 1957 in the establishment of the Eisenhower Doctrine, it has not been to the benefit of world peace, to stopping terrorism, to, maintaining anything other than the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency for OPEC and OPEC plus. That's all it is. It is an economic game that makes the corporations and the fucking billionaires richer and richer while stealing money from you and making the world a less safe place. I could go on and on and on again, but again, we have this concept, this false concept, that we do this for safety and security. We do this to help the little guy. How many celebrities? We do this. How many people? I don't know if you're as old as I am as a millennial, but how many times did we cry out for help in Darfur and no one gave a fuck? And the reason no one gave a fuck is that it didn't make the corporations rich to go in, so they didn't do it. The second type is aid. And I think this is the more pernicious and the more evil form of interventionism. And it's the kind that people think is actually good. People think foreign aid means giving money to starving people. It doesn't. What foreign aid means is our Western imperialist system comes in, tries to influence democratic institutions such as universities, the media, etc., and funnels in billions of dollars so that we can try and force those countries' culture to change and hopefully lead to their own civil wars so that we have Western allies. We saw this with the Arab Spring, and we saw this in 2014 in Ukraine, where the CIA and the National Endowment for Democracy came in. This begins really with the Bretton Woods Initiative in 1944, which is again sold on this lie that we were going to keep the gold standard up. And 2 years later, Harry S. Truman puts Harry Dexter White, who was a known communist spy who funneled money away from the Chinese nationalists over to the Maoists to help China become a communist nation and fight the civil war that led to the bloodshed of millions, in charge of the International Monetary Fund, which is another system that we use to economically cripple weaker nations into debt so that they're forced to be a client state to us. This does not help us economically. It helps the rich. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help the American taxpayer. It doesn't help the little guy working at a factory. And again, we saw the Iran-Contra in the 80s. And so what was the response? What we did is we set up the National Endowment for Democracy Fund. We set up the Foreign Relations Council. We set up all of these systems that are supposedly pro-democracy, pro-good. And what they really are is a means of using CIA assets and your tax dollars to take away the democratic will of those people. It has cost us lives. It has destroyed us. I think it's evil.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. Stick 'em, boys.
Just want to address the first thing up front. I come from a military family. Dad, several.
All right, guys, that's enough of that. Scott rocked that shit, man. He rocked that shit. That was brutal. Not only was it brutal, he's right about every single word that came out of his mouth. Like everything he said, he's right. I mean, everything. Like all of those things happened. All of those people did what he said they did. That is brutal. That's winning him, making his point and hammering it home in the opening statement. It's a beautiful example of that. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful to watch. It's wonderful to listen to. I was listening to it while I'm sitting here listening to my intro music, and I thought, you know what? This is better than my damn intro music. I want to play this for you guys out there, and I'm glad that I did. Let's check and see who's out in the chat. Probably everybody tuned out. Probably everybody's over at Scott's channel right now watching that debate live, and I wouldn't blame you if you were. So we got K2, Keep On Trucking is number one in the chat tonight. He was first. If not first, you're last. Damien, apparently MB wants to fight you like fisticuffs. How daring. John Burt is in the house. Roman King up in the house. Chip and Flint, good to see you, sir. Ticky Tack. I also hate the cold. Chip and Flint, man. Yeah, I don't know. Aircraft Sparky. Yeah, I did rewind it to the beginning. Aircraft Sparky salutes to you, sir. I'm glad to see you in the house tonight. Michelle, you know what we were doing. We're having a good time. We're doing the cool stuff. All right. And then it was just me. 13, good to see you. Smoking Spaceman. No, you weren't late, bro. I was listening to Scott on his opening statement, and dude just took the whole can of whoop ass and just poured it out and just served that shit hot, steaming. What's up, John Dedman? How are you, sir? I'm just going to be honest. That's exactly like, if you want to know what a great opening statement looks like, that is one. He was 100% on point. It was brutal. There's really no arguing with any of it. And Scott just cleared it. Like, it's going to be hard. I mean, it will be very difficult to prove Scott wrong in this debate. It's just going to be terrible to do so. So, Stephen Aker or Aker, I don't know really sure how you say your name. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you in the chat. It's going to be a good show tonight, guys. I've had quite a day, to be honest with you. It's been a little up and down, side to side, all that kind of stuff. But man, that opening from Scott was just perfect. It's just perfect. Wasn't over the top. Not a lot of theatricals. Just brutal facts. And as someone that is constantly trying to refine my craft, that's how you do that right there. Right. Yeah, it's not just a corporate nature of it, but it's the idea that we need that regardless of what people say, our government has always, since the beginning of time, and actually I had a criminal justice, or I had a when I was in school studying criminal justice and law, when I was in college, I had a constitutional law teacher, and one of the things that he harped on constantly was this idea of that there's that the U.S. government protects people. It doesn't. It protects business. It protects property rights. It protects basically everything else, and people as an afterthought. And there's reasons for that, and maybe we'll get into them. I don't know. Yeah, they're going to have to. Yeah, they're going to smoking spaceman. There's really not a lot you can do there. You're going to have to like shift. You're going to have to shift some goalposts. You're going to deflect all the shit, man. Hey, it's Bricky on a rant. What's up, buddy? You were watching Storage Wars last night, and it came to me. I knew you were Dave Lister. It's funny. Yep. That's funny. I know that. I know that cultural reference. I think I saw like 2 episodes of that. Yeah, government is in the business of protecting government. It is for sure now. It is for sure now. But yeah, guys, it's going to be a good show tonight. We're going to have a great time. I'm in a good mood. We're going to have a great show. I don't know where Michelle is. I was hoping for a co-host tonight. She might still be waking up. I'm not really sure of her schedule. So, good evening, Plumpy. Good evening, Cheryl. Hope you guys I hope you girls have a great show tonight. Hope you enjoy it. Damien, I've been watching you go back and forth. No, I haven't actually been watching the actual exchanges between you and MB, but I've been watching what you've been relaying back in various places about the nonsense that MB has led to. I'm really curious how that all kind of came down and how it all came about. So I'm really interested about that. If you want to share, that would be great. Yeah, I'm in a great mood. It's been, like I said, it's been kind of an up and down day. I had a lot of, well, first of all, I didn't get enough sleep. I was up late as shit last night. And, man, I'm just tired, and I needed to, I had to get some work done today. So I kind of phoned that shit in. I basically did like one thing and came back inside. It's been snowing all day, so nobody didn't have to go anywhere. Just weird ass Friday, but it's cool. I'm not even really sure what I want to talk about tonight. I know that Sarah's doing a stream tonight, which not really sure what that's all about. I don't really care. And obviously VK will be happening here shortly. But yeah, I'm in a pretty good mood tonight. Pretty good mood. Let's see. You replied to Myron on a tweet. Dude responded spurging about you debating him. I said, fight me to the death in a coliseum. And he said, let's do it. Damn, son. That's how you get it done right there. That's how you get it done. So I doubt I'll be doing VK, man. First of all, I'm tired. I'm probably going to do this show. I'm going to do the best show I can do. And then I'm probably going to be out. Plus, Speakeasy's been rude to me lately. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Wyoming has a lot of wind, brother. Wyoming has a lot of wind. For sure. So. Michelle is here. I just don't know if she's I don't know if she's here. But she was in the chat earlier. I kind of threw everybody off by, throwing up the opening argument that my boy put out. I am working on some new guests, guys. I might as well do my monologue here. So I'm working on having a few new guests come up. One of them is I'm really working on getting this Emma 6 lady up. She does what do you call them? Reaction videos. I'm trying to have her up. We're going to get Donovan back on pretty soon. I'm not really sure when, but we'll have Donovan on. I'll have Jake Rattlesnake on at some point. He and I we keep missing. It's like misconnections, it's like, and I've not put a ton of effort into having him on either. But I need to have I need to have Jake Rattlesnake on. Hopefully I'll have Rob Knorr on. He was going to be on last week and he ended up he was sick. I need to send him a Discord DM and set that up. So I'm going to have, we're going to get back into having guests, and good discussions as often as we can. I was kind of hoping to get maybe like Beaten Cheeks or somebody on tonight, but I think that dude's he's very busy. He's got a lot going on. And so I don't blame him. He's busy and can't make it. That's fine. But I didn't even get a chance to ask him because I talked to him for like 2 minutes and then he was gone. So I heard that he was up in my hood, though. I heard that he was up in Kentucky. That's right down the road for me. But not by, not a ton. So I'm buffering. Weird. Everything looks smooth, but maybe not. Cheeks is busy with hookers. Could be. Yeah. Let me know if I start buffering, guys. It is we had a snowstorm today. It wasn't a big deal, but it's it ended up being a kind of a free school, free day out of school for the kids. I didn't really have to do anything, didn't have to go anywhere, so that was awesome. And but there could be problems with the internet somewhere due to the snowstorm. I know. I'm pretty sure. What's his name? Didn't have power. Clovertac. I think Clovertac was out of power. If I get Jake Rattlesnake on, Bricky says he will sit in a bath of baked beans. Seriously, I would. He's a fucking legend, that guy. He said that he wants to come on. He said we've talked like 2 or 3 times, and we just kind of. It's like Rob Knorr. It's like I'm not putting any pressure on the guy to come on the show. I need to have Andrew on at some point. I just haven't, Andrew's schedule is so busy and so erratic. It's hard to nail him down. So yeah. Yep. Anybody got the last night's show was very long, but it was very good, I think. Oh, he was live today. We must have got his power back on. Good deal. Glad for Clover and his gun prattle. So good times for everyone. Good times for every little boy and girl. Yeah, it's good. All right. Last night was a long ass stream between the debate, which I thought I did okay in, and then the after debate, which I could have done better at. I was having fun with that kid. Hopefully he's watching, man. He seems like a good kid. That dude was also that dude was dead tired, man. So it was all right. So, but yeah, we're getting some stuff done. What's my take on the Trump sentencing? It's a big steaming sack of bullshit. Is what it is. It's really so that they didn't have to. They can keep the conviction, right? And that's the big thing, is that it's really it was really so that he could keep the conviction, or they could keep the conviction and not vacate it. I'm not really sure why they did it. I guess at some point they think he's going to pardon himself or some bullshit. I don't know. I think right now, my honest opinion on the whole thing is it's going to blow up in the lib's face, because it's just not going to work out well for him. Yeah, the 2028 narrative, if he endorses anybody, Vance or whoever he decides to endorse, there'll be 24/7 ads, the convicted felon deal. The thing is, though, is if I were Trump, I wouldn't take it. I would force them through the appeals process to vacate that conviction. I don't think he can now. Maybe he can appeal that, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. What's up, Imperious? How you doing, buddy? It's all good that way. Not a big deal. Kieran Markin, good to see you in the house, sir. I see you out there. Mr. My man. Good to see you in the house. Ticky Tack, you should come up and let's just chat, man. Let's just bullshit for a while. You think it was a win for him, Imperious? I just really, I don't think it was a win. I think for Trump, it's neutral. For the left, it gives them a hook for later. Well, first of all, I don't think Trump wants to rule the world, so there's that. So I don't know what's going to happen with TikTok. That's an interesting thing. I don't know that it really matters to me much what happens to TikTok, but I know it does to a bunch of people, so we'll see how that works out. It's a drug. You're addicted. Just face facts, baby. Just face facts. So you worked overtime today and just want to chill? Awesome, bro. I'm really tired today. I was up late. I got some airplane parts in. I had to look through and put away and that kind of stuff. So, just today, man. Just today. Yeah. Yep. That's how it goes. Supreme Court will release TikTok's appeal findings on Monday. Cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, that's the Trump thing's interesting. What do you guys think about these fires, man? What do you think about that? Like, I kind of touched on it last night in the debate. What do you? The fires in California is fucking weird, man. They literally, like 8 days ago or whatever the fuck it was now, the mayor cuts $20 million out of the firefighters' budget. Like 5 days later, there's fires being set everywhere. That's crazy. Well, unfortunately, they can arrest people for anything, but I'm curious, is it intentional? Is it intentional because they knew that they could get away with it and it would get blamed on the firefighters because their budget was cut, or is it intentional because the firefighters had their budget cuts and so they said, fuck this, we're going to show people why you need to pay us? It's very interesting, right? Yeah, the insurance companies, yeah, for sure. The mismanagement, for sure, and it does show a glaring mismanagement, but they're going to make a bunch of look. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with all the claims of mismanagement. Literally, I can literally hear the headlines singing now that sure, there was a little mismanagement, but they've reorganized. They've hired 5 people to straighten it out, and it's going to be. They're coming back better than ever. And simpleton motherfuckers out there will believe them, and that'll be the end of that shit. So they'll and then until the next time. Yeah. I mean, come on. Let's just be honest. .gov is mismanagement. That's just the way it is. We used to have an efficient, nice, compact government, and we'll never have it again. Not ever. It just isn't going to happen. So, just not going to happen. So, they did fire a bunch of firefighters, but they hired them all back, I think, for the most part. But they did do that for sure. However, a lot of people moved too. A lot of people, during the unpleasantness, they moved. I know, because a bunch of my neighbors are from fucking California. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the logging and the not clearing out the underbrush and all of the bullshit stuff that California does in regards to in the name of nature. Angry Casper doesn't usually come in my channel for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think he likes me very much. Glenn, or not Glenn. Imperious. He goes on Glenn's channel. He doesn't come on mine very much. It is illegal to collect water in the state of rainwater in the state of California. It's just a really ridiculous place, and it's a fucking desert. What's interesting is it is illegal to collect rainwater, but California is a fucking desert, man. Like without the dams and without literally, like in some cases stealing water from other states, California wouldn't exist. It's not an oasis. It's not. It never has been. So, you think the government's going to see? I don't know, man. I think in other places in the world and the other places in the country smoking spaceman, I could see that. I don't see that in LA. I don't see that. I don't know. I don't know where that is. But hey, what's up, Ghost 1978? How you doing, man? Did you watch Scott Fabian Liberty's opening in the debate he's in right now? He came out swinging for the fucking fences. Why is the settlement? Yeah, that's true. They've tapped out the water tables. That's true. But you know, the thing is there's plenty of water right across the border in Arizona. So you're in New Zealand, Craig? I just ordered parts from New Zealand. We had the Green Party here in New Zealand get a law passed where forestry slash couldn't be controlled burned off. And as a result, when Cyclone Gabrielle hit, utter destruction throughout the region resulted. Ghost, if you did not watch Scott Fabian Liberty's opening statement, man, you gotta watch his opening statement in the debate Grand Prix. It is baller, dude. He laid wood to all of them. Craig M., I just ordered some parts from a company called Franklin Performance in New Zealand. They do a bunch of high performance parts for various automotive stuff, and they make some cool stuff over there. So I just ordered some parts from them. Waiting for them to come in. So yeah, they did. They turned the Sierra Nevada, and one of the things about the Sierra Nevadas is that they were the way that they chose to gold mine was fine, but then California stopped them from doing it, and they were literally like the people who were mining were helping the ecosystem out. It's really weird. I know. Ghost 1978. I was talking about that last night. I literally talked about that last night. I was talking about how fucking weird was it that the guy that was on Joe Rogan literally explained exactly how LA was going to burn from the desert to the sea. It's weird. So fucking weird. So, yeah. That's it. That's true. Yeah. Very interesting stuff, guys and girls. I don't want to discriminate. I'm really surprised Flow State also is not up, or Glenn. Glenn's usually awake right about now. He's not here. He must be filming. That's interesting stuff. So if you guys don't know, there's a couple of new debate channels, networks in the works. Obviously, I participate on the Reverie. It's an old one, and honestly, they're just phoning that shit in. But there's some new debate channels coming out, or are in the process of growing. One of them is the one that Fabian Liberty's on tonight, and that is put out by Admiral Gibbs. It is called the Debate Grand Prix, and so far, man, the format is great. It's great. It's just ridiculously good, and so far it's really good. I like it. And then there's another one that's going to come out pretty soon that I think it with some tweaking, it's going to be really good too. It's not ready for release yet, and I'm not going to out the guy doing it because you guys probably know who it is. I mean, obviously it's the internet. Anybody knows who anybody is, but yeah, look, I'm encouraged by all of the debate platforms that are firing up and kind of expanding the ecosystem a little bit and expanding the horizon, right? So that was pretty good. Yeah, the Ghost, you can't drink the water. It's contaminated in certain areas. It's always been that way. It's very interesting that now we get very concerned when we come across contaminated water. But yet in the olden days, it was not unusual to literally have water holes marked as poison because of, completely natural toxins, and now of course we can't have that at all. Even if it's natural, like a high level of tannin or something, um, you know, or sulfur, or any number of things. Even if it's a natural contaminant, some busybody somewhere will have to get us to fix that and not allow it to exist. So it's a very interesting thing, I think. It's very, it's very strange. Also, I think what's made us overall weaker. The Chip and Flint. Okay, I saw that. Stephen Aker. Don't know if I'm into drag racing, but I saw a video of Don Garlitz at the age of 93 starting up Swamp Rat. Yeah, actually, I saw that dude a few years ago at SEMA. I want to say it was 2014 or 2015. And it was like 10 years ago. Dude was still rocking, man. Like, he was like 80 something years old, man. He was rocking it out. So it was cool dude. Very cool dude. Right. Alkali Creek, Poison Creek. Yeah. Yeah. So that's, yeah, it's just the way it was, guys. I don't know why, nowadays you can't do that. Nowadays it's completely taboo. Dean Mikan, however you say that. The USA has enough clean water where if you needed to, one could drink out of a toilet. Yeah, actually, I mean, that's true. That's very true. Lining your blacksmith forge and probably snort a ton of silica. You're not scared. Silica is actually bad shit, but I mean, it's like rolling the dice in Vegas, right? Sometimes you hit it big, and sometimes you crap out. It's just the way it is. Not really much of an in between on that one. Yeah. Yep. To all you guys, by the way, last night who supported the channel and went out and told people to come in and all of that while I was debating, I really appreciate that. That was great, and should have. To be honest with you, I'm very, very happy that you guys did that. So, local water companies drilling 1,000 feet to reach groundwater. You used to be, when I was a kid, you dig 5 feet and hit water. That's actually, it's an interesting thing about groundwater, though. You could literally, like here where I'm at, our water table's pretty close, and there are places where it's literally just coming, like, you can't stop it. They're natural springs, and it's just going to be, it's always going to be there like that. But there are other places just here where you dig down 5 feet and you hit fucking granite. Oh, I did? I hit the goal? I didn't even set the goal. Clint did. I was too busy trying to debate those fools. Jake, you're tough. Yeah, that's, it's an interesting deal. So, yeah. Well, it's 28 foot. The house across the street is 800. Yeah. And here in Tennessee, man, like, I could go out and dig in my yard. I could probably dig a swimming pool. My neighbor he dug down 3 feet and had to start blasting. So, I mean, it's just, a lot of it's just how things work out. Big bunch of snow just fell off the roof. Sounded like fucking somebody crashed into the building. So it's really cool. So what else we want to talk about tonight, guys? Water's cool, but we can do that. Your well is 64 feet. Yeah, that's cool. I know that a lot of places in like Arizona, they hit water at like 100, 125 feet, but they'll dig down to like 200 feet. So it's an interest. I don't know why. They just dig down extra. So has anybody got anything that's just burning that they want to talk about? Death and taxes, weird people, something that's badassery. I did actually have a couple of topics tonight, but like I said, I'm really tired. Greenland and the Panama Canal. I love the memes. I love the memes that are coming out about with Trump and the canal and all that shit. That's fucking hilarious, man. I mean, look, Cody is fucking tired. I don't know what to do about this. I don't know what to do about this nonsense with the Greenland and all of that. That to me, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Brigitte, what do you say? Brigitte, how do you say that? Brigitte Macron. I do not know who that is. Let me see if I can look it up really quick. Oh, the First Lady of France. France. Well, I mean, she has 3 kids, so probably not trans. But damn, son. Damn. Oh shit. Her one son's a cardiologist. That's pretty badass. Yeah, I don't know. If the problem is she's so old, there's no fucking way, honestly. She's older than me, I think. When the fuck was she born? She's 1953, bro. There's no way. There's no way. I like where your head's at, Daniel's on, but there's just no way. Yeah. No, it's cross-dressing, sure, since the 30s, but trans, that's different than cross-dressing, man. We used to call them transvestites, right? Do you guys remember that? Can we even say that? Did I just get canceled? Did I just cancel myself? Well, Candace Owens always dropping weird shit. I've kind of lost my enthusiasm for Candace Owens. I don't know. Sonny from The View. I don't know who that is. Oh, I don't watch The View, man. I don't know who that is, but is getting sued for recommending people that had injuries to other doctors so they would get it cut. I'm not really sure I understand what you're saying. Let me reread that. Maybe I'm not understanding. Recommending people that had injuries to other doctors so they would get a cut. I got you. Got you. Kind of like he was recommending people. Responded to Trump, said they have till January 20th to That's true, bro. That's true. He's gonna go. The thing is, you can't really. The thing about Trump is he'll do it, right? Like he'll fucking do it. I go back and forth on Candace too. Like I used to really like her, but what I've come to understand is that she's you're gonna be mad. I know you guys will be mad for saying this, but she's no better than leftist. She just says a bunch of things that she might be true, might not be true, whatever. never presents any actual facts, never presents any actual data. It's all made up innuendo bullshit. And that's what leftists do. You know, so I'm tired of her. I got to be honest. And I really used to like Candace. I really respected her. I really liked her. But since she's gone down the shock jock genre path, I don't give a shit. I just don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't know who Sonny is, but I believe that I 100% believe that people would get a cut from recommending other people to doctors and shit. That's just people do that shit all the time, and I don't really like that too much. Like if I recommend somebody to you, it's because I think they're good. It's because they do a good shit. They do good shit, but when I find out that people are recommending me to somewhere because they get a cut or they get 10% or whatever, I have to wonder about their honesty, right? Because at that point, are they really trying to help me or are they just putting money in their pocket? So Sonny Hostins, yeah. I don't know who that is, but it doesn't, I can understand the behavior without knowing the person, right? Bleed me? You mean bless me? Thank you, John Deadman. I appreciate that. Yeah, the why can't you do both? Help and I mean, you can. I hope you can, but I don't. But generally, I don't. I just always debate it. What was which debate about, Octavius? The one last night. The one last night there were like 3 subjects. I did okay. I didn't crush skulls and change world and destroy worldviews like I wanted to, but it was okay. I did okay. Okay. Right, Damien, I get that we've had cross dressers a long time, but full body conversions is a relatively new thing. Well, I mean, look, that's just the way the panel is. The funny thing was the leftists got super pissed when I called him a leftist. That was the best part. It wasn't the best. That was like top 3, top 5 things that happened last night on the debate, guys. He literally just lost his fucking shit when I called him a left. I'm not a leftist. Yeah, I don't care. She can be a man. I don't care. She can be a he. She can be a swinging dick. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I don't care. There was business conducted in the Continental. We did have a micro debate kind of last night. There kind of was. It's true. Yeah, it kind of was. But it was really more just it was a lesson, really. It was a lesson. Nobody actually, there wasn't really a winner last night or a loser. It was an it was for educational purposes. I'm missing something here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, look, I don't really care, right? Like, first of all, it's fucking France. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a shit about France. Second, whatever. I don't care. Yeah. It really wasn't a challenge either. I mean, he kind of, he wanted to debate, but he didn't want to debate, and it was fine. Yeah, it was really just educational. If somebody will wait ticky tack up, he'll remember helping teach him. The interesting thing though is that kid was right. That kid, I mean, he did college debate, so he's a Socratic method debater. So he was right that lying is not a logical fallacy. It is still a fallacy, but it's not a logical fallacy. And deception does go against the rule, or the not the rules, but the spirit of debate, or intentionally lying. So kind of little column A, little column B. Hey, it's Luke. There he is, man. Yeah, we just can't come to grips on a topic. But yeah, he was Luke. You were right that lying is not a logical fallacy. That is true. Good to see you in the chat, Luke. You kept me up too late last night too, man. I was fucking tired today. He was kind of conflating National Socialism with fascism. They're really close, but Mussolini did actually create fascism, and I used to really enjoy kind of schooling people on fascism because they always talk about how Nazis were fascist, but not all of them were. And Mussolini is the father of fascism. So, yeah, he did. Tiki Tack did ask if you wanted to have a discussion about it, and you guys are welcome to come up and we can resume that. I have to be a lot more polite tonight. I'm just dude. I'm tired. I'm dragging my ass, But you guys are welcome to come on up and chat some more about it. But again, it's fine. Well, no, it's the type of segregation. I understood what Tiki Tack meant. I think that everybody understood what he meant. It's the ultimate segregation is unique to fascism. Putting people in jail is not necessarily a component. I'm not really sure I remember your exact position, Luke, but my recollection of your position was that you can't have fascism without people being put into jail just because they disagree with you. And if that is the case, then every single country on the planet is in fact fascist because we don't agree that it's okay to murder people. Not tonight? All right, that's cool, man. Luke, what's your schedule, buddy? Let's set this up. I think it'll be a great discussion. We can do it tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's a chill stream. You just have to be chill about it. You can come on up, Luke. We'll talk, man. I got all night. Well, not really. Got like a couple more hours. But Luke, did you catch the opening from Scott, Fabian Liberty? It's a killer opening, man. Like, dude won. He won in the opening. Guaranteed 100%. The other guy smoked too much pot. It's hard to make a good opening when you've been smoking pot. It's just the way it is. Luke, you there with us, buddy? I'm a great moderator, Ghost. I'm an awesome moderator. And I kind of have to be with most of the guys because they'll start going down rabbit holes that you got to pull them back and point them towards the goal. All right, Luke, why don't we do tomorrow night, man? What time zone you in, brother? that was definitely a debate tactic right there. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to do that. I actually have that. I have that in my soundboard. I'm going to start using that in my debate tactic. You're a Mountain Time? You in Colorado, bro? I lived in Colorado a long time, man. Yeah. Which part of Colorado, bro? I lived in I lived in Highlands Ranch, but I also I owned a house in Aurora for long. I lived out by Buckley Airfield at the back gate, basically, over in Aurora town, downtown Denver. Damn, son, I feel bad for you. It's rough. But I know a lot of people out there, man. Still to this day. Mr. throws down the gauntlet. It's a lie taught in modern colleges. They claimed Mussolini was right-wing fascist. He was a self-proclaimed authoritarian socialist. Socialist is antithetical to right-wing capitalism. Right, but Mussolini is considered the father of modern fascism, that he created it, in that his version of fascism was not the social aspect of, not just the social aspect of winnowing out people that didn't agree with him, but mostly that the state would own all the means of production and the people would work there. But and that's why the Italian version of communism is a little different, because it was mostly based on Mussolini's fascism. Damn, Ghost! I used to hang out in Colorado Springs quite a bit. What'd you say, Luke? Yeah, you said downtown Denver, man. I saw that. Hang on, me. Gotta hide that. Yeah, Denver used to be kind of cool, man. I had an apartment on right there on DU's campus on University Drive there. I can't remember the name of that fucking high rise there, but I lived in a high rise. So when I first married my wife, the first year probably that we were married, or we dated and then got married. The first year we lived in an apartment across from DU because she went to DU. Oh, nice, John Deadman. I've been to most of the Paneras in the area. Look at that. Everybody's got some common ground. Well, my wife, Daniel's on. My wife went to DU. She got an MB. She got a master's in finance from DU. It was okay. You know, it was a good school, but I think she likes CU Boulder or whatever it was. I think she liked it better. She did her undergrad work there, and she did her graduate work at DU. So, yeah, John Deadman, man. It's probably like Boulder was back in the day. Boulder had all the fucking homeless, man. Boulder has so many cops, dude. It's like crazy. Actually, the Denver area in general has so many cops. It's crazy. You went to Virginia Tech? That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I like Colorado for the most part. It just got too crazy, man. I had to leave. Well, that and I, wanted to fucking retire. So, yeah. I still know a lot of people in Colorado though. I'm supposed to go back. I'm supposed to be in Colorado in like I don't know, like February, I think, or something like that. I don't think we're gonna do it, but we still have friends there. Some of my wife's friends are there. So we go there occasionally. Michelle's being very quiet. She must be tired too. She must have gone to sleep. I like Ghost 1978. He's a cool dude. You never see Ghost? Yeah, that's true. You wore Michelle out earlier? Where was Michelle at earlier that you could wear her out? Actually, I don't think that could happen, Imperious. I really think that's just not on the list of shit that could happen. Hey, why don't you come up here and let's talk guns, bro? Who's my favorite stream right now that is not on people's radar? I really like Emma666, and I like Scott Fabian Liberty, man. I can just sit back and chill and watch Scott's his material. I like the way he talks and how he's intellectual without being like just ridiculous. And how many people? Luke, you want to come up and bullshit or what? Who the fuck is that? I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to throw a link out to Aircraft Sparky and have him come up. We'll talk airplanes and guns. You bet I won't. I'm going to throw one out to John Mosman too. You know who I hadn't seen today is Mikey Ball. Mikey Ball is another one. I think most people know about him, but Mikey Balls is he's solid, dude. That's a solid dude. What worries you, Clover Tack? I missed something. I kind of feel like we're gonna have to. I feel like we're gonna have to throw. We're gonna have to throw Imperius in a crystal or some shit. What's up, Clover Tack? There he is, right there.
Yeah.
I found him. I found him. He's not missing anymore.
Was I missing? I wasn't aware I was missing. I was trying not to be found. Oh, I got an echo. What the hell?
You do. Why you got an echo, bro? Here, let me try. First of all, you got your mic turned all the fucking way up over here, dude. What is up with that? There we go. Try it. Hit that button now.
Hit what button? What button do I hit?
There you go. See the mic button.
No.
Well, you're not echoing here.
Okay. Well, I've got echo.
What's my take on national concealed carry proposal in the Senate? They better fucking do it. Pull the trigger.
Mm-mm.
You don't want to do it?
They want to be careful. You do know who is the sponsor on that, right?
No, who is it?
Fucking John Cornyn. There's some language in there. There's some language in there.
I was going to say, okay, so what's the poison pill? What have we got there?
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't read it.
So the GOA is working on trying to get some of it straightened out. With Cornyn's ass involved in it, I don't know if that'll ever be the case. But he likes to put bills out, but he likes to put fucked up bills out that have no chance really of going anywhere. And if they do, they're really fucking dangerous. Just so he can get the fucking brownie points, right?
Right. Yeah, he's trying to.
He's a rhino motherfucker. Yeah, he's a rhino motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
And so, basically what it boils down to, kind of the way it's written now, it sounds good. I mean, it sounds good on paper. It's like fucking communism or whatever the fuck. It sounds good on paper, right?
Right.
It's basically, it works like a driver's license. So, I guess in a way, but it's like, okay, so if I've got my license to carry from Texas, then that's fucking nationwide. So I can go to California, and it's not like reciprocity is now, where if I go to California, I have to fucking carry by their standards. I'm bound by the standards which I'm licensed under. Well, that steps on states' rights. At least it would appear that way, which is going to be a fucking problem. It's a poison pill. It's a problem with the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of weirdness. Yeah,
law enforcement.
You just need the constitutional carry. Look, the Constitution covers it right there. You have the right to keep and bear arms. Done deal. Easy enough.
Yeah.
Simple, easy to remember.
Yeah.
Daniel Zahn, Emma 666 is a reaction streamer who a lot of it is just pure fucking drama, but it's funny. She's hilarious. The 666, I guess, was some kind of joke that she did. She had to put something in, and she just did that as kind of a joke. And then when she went to change it, wouldn't let her change it. So it just kind of stuck. She explained it in my chat. I'm going to try and have her on actually in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how that goes. She's got some of those weird takes. Like, she doesn't want to be monetized because she wants to be able to play whatever music she wants, and she wants to be able to pretty much say whatever she wants and all of that. So it's just it's just interesting. And so I'm I don't know. And then Fabian Liberty Scott is just, he's a badass debater, man. Like, he's probably the most probably the most underrated debater in the scene. And probably the reason he's underrated is he is an ANCAP guy. And so people just automatically, want to kind of come at him because of it being an ANCAP. So, but I've had him on the show. I'm going to have him back on the show. He's a great guest, and he's got a degree in psychology and sociology, but he doesn't get to use it very much in his daily life. So he loves to debate and uses, beat people about the head with his education. It's fucking awesome. His opening for tonight's debate that he's doing right now in the Debate Grand Prix was fucking awesome. Like, it was exactly the right kind of opening where he literally won the debate in the opening statement, and the other guy is just going to have to try and do the best he can to cancel out what Scott laid out perfectly. So, yeah. What do you go nuts over Imperious? I mean, a lot. I mean, I know the list is long, but just in reference to what you posted. So Clover, man.
Anyway, yeah.
Gun stuff, bro. What do you get anything?
Shot, baby. Shot show, baby.
Yeah, I know. I thought about going. I'm not gonna go.
Yeah, well, it's too fucking late. It's been too late. So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, like you're just gonna show up and go in and walk in.
Yeah. Why can't I? I used to do it.
Yeah, don't work like that no more. But okay.
Have
I
they
don't know.
changed it?
I don't
Have
know.
they changed it
Let me
because-
back. Let me back up. Depending on what kind of clout you got. And Grid, we all know Grid's got some fucking clout.
I know people. I know people who know people.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Who get me in places.
I've seen people get in with with clout. I've seen it happen. But yeah, it's way past registration time. Way past. Like even late registration ended.
Well, I mean, usually the way that I get in is somebody will have
an extra, and then you pretend to be Terry or Bill or something.
No, they'll just be on. I guess manufacturers, they just get like.
Yeah, I understand that, but they've got to be under a name. No. There's no.
They changed that because actually,
it's been that way the whole time I've been going, bro. Like you have your name on your fucking badge.
Dude, what year was it? probably 2017, 2018.
Well, I went for my first year was 2017, and I've got every fucking badge from every time I've been.
Yeah,
I've been every time.
I didn't even know I was going until like 4 days before I went. I went as a rep for. I went under the auspices of Thunder Beast.
Yeah,
and they literally
Sure, it wasn't 16.
It could have been 2016.
Okay, or pre-16, or even pre-16. Because the reason I asked is that I can literally go take pictures right now of how many is that? 7? Well, there was an off year for COVID, but so that would be 6, I guess, or what? No, 6, 7, whatever. How many years? I got literally my name on them. But here's the thing. So I have industry people, right, that will get me industry badges to be able to help them do things, right? And almost every year I show up and they hand me something, but it's got some employee's name that I'm not that person, but nobody fucking checks. So that's what I'm saying. If you've got somebody, as long as they have another badge, you're fine. But
but I will say that when John and I went, so we had to go to. They have like a kiosk, not a kiosk. It's not really a kiosk. They have like a bunch of tables set up, and so they're supposed to mail you your shit. But
they don't do that anymore. They haven't done. No, the first year, 17, they mailed, and they have not mailed anything since. You pick it up.
Wow.
There.
Yeah. So I had to go in, stand in line because I was late. Obviously, I was late registration. Yeah. I walked up. I showed them my photo ID. They were supposed to. I was told.
They said, "Oh, we're sorry," and they let you in. That's what
I was close. I was told that that I might have to say that I didn't bring any business cards with me or anything like that. I didn't have a company ID, but and I knew the guys that own Thunder Beast. And I was just gonna say, I was basically gonna drop their names, and I was told that that would be the kind of the only hang up, right? John and I were both told that, hey, we're not printing as business cards or anything like that. So you're just going to have to fucking wing it. And I'm like, all right, cool. I walked up there with a really cool story prepared to launch, and they literally just looked at my driver's license and handed me the badge. And that was it.
Yeah.
Didn't even ask me.
So they have changed. It was not that way in 17. And in starting,
No, definitely didn't go in 17.
I'm guessing starting in 18 that they really started clamping down. And what I heard from NSSF was they had too many people that was bringing too many people that were actually not tied to the industry, right? Your buddy or your whatever, and my buddy works for me, or my buddy, hey, they work for the company, or in my case with like media, which is still pretty lax, to be honest. There are ways that I could bring somebody additional, if I wanted to, but before it was just, they're my cameraman, right? There was no proof, nothing like that you had to have. And so they really cracked down. Like I said, they don't mail anything anymore. So now they do have kiosks in the airport, and they've got kiosks, I think, at a couple of different hotels on the
Strip. Airport.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They got shot registration at the fucking airport. Yeah. Yep.
Stand by. Luke, I go live at 8 p.m. Central Time. That is 9 p.m. No, pardon me, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So, yeah.
But
yes, sir. And we will make some.
I actually talked to. I had to go pick up a gun yesterday, and talked to my buddy that owns the gun shop. He's not going this year, the loser. But we actually talked about maybe next year, just me taking him, under me, instead of him having to go through the shop and do all that. And I'm like, hell, that'll give you absolute full access anyway, is media. Because the only badge higher than with more access than media is staff.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't even have a media one. So,
well, you wouldn't have had a media one.
No, I had.
You would have had an exhibitor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
or a manufacturer. You might have had a manufacturer.
I think it was manufacturer. Yeah. Or rep, manufacturer's rep.
Because there's several badges. There's depends on what you are, right? You've got dealers, wholesalers, manufacturers, and then you've got exhibitors, and then what else is there? Retailers. There's a few different badges or types and colors and such for.
Yeah.
But media is its own separate fucking thing, and part of that's because we also have Media Day at the Range, which is the Monday of Shot Week, so we get to go shoot all the cool shit.
Yeah, I missed out on that. I couldn't get an early enough flight to get in to go do the Day at the Range.
Yeah,
and I couldn't stay and do the little mini match that they had after. Yeah, after the show.
Well, I just found out today that the Tuesday night range event is happening again. So I found that out today and got all, was able to secure the invites and get everything taken care of for that. So we'll actually have a range day Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night. So that'll be cool. We'll get 3 range days this trip.
Cool. Hey, Cam the King is in the house. Jess is triggered over fires and media coverage in SoCal, where she is from.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Fuckers don't know how to manage their forests and shit.
Well, did you watch that Joe Rogan thing from like last year where the guy literally described in detail exactly what's happening? About how just the wind would shift and blow the fire just directly to the sea. It was going to burn from the desert to the sea, and that's pretty much what it's fucking done.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if they would keep their shit clean, but they don't, you know.
Holy fuck! It's Wicked Wally. Hey, Wicked Wally, why don't you come up and we'll bullshit a little bit? He's just killing time before he goes over to BK.
We got some state forest here, or we got some.
Everybody has state forest.
We got some land that's managed by the State Forestry Service.
Sure.
And they're always, cutting fire breaks, back burning, like always. I mean, it is. Yeah. They take care of that shit.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing to me because when I look at it, right, like in Tennessee, well, first of all, we have our forestry agents absolutely will do. Oh yeah, I got the clip. Hang on, I'm gonna. Here it is, right here. I think it's from about a year ago. I'm gonna play this. It's gonna blow your. It's gonna blow your skirt up here. Don't get mad. But this is crazy, man. It's just nuts. Let me and we want audio on that. All right, here we go. Here we go, guys.
One day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean and there's not a thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing they can do. They just got to get out of there.
That was fucking nuts, man.
Yep.
That was fucking nuts, man.
It's obvious. But here's the thing. If they kept everything maintained, right? Which they're not, because there's some stupid little fucking bird or lizard or worm or some fucking horse shit that, we got to protect whatever the hell dumb thing it is. So that's supposedly their reasoning. But if they would keep things maintained, the thing was, you might get some small pockets that would burn, but you would not get into the canopy. And the canopy would keep embers and shit from spreading, even with wind.
Yeah, Luke, that's actually, I did see that. And actually somebody was commenting that they were going to do it for illegals. There is a real deal about how Newsom's plan, he says it's for these massive apartment buildings to be for normal people to recover, rebuild the neighborhoods, that kind of thing. But it's really seems like it's going to be for housing illegals and the homeless. So the state government is going to pay for us. Did Wicked Wally want to come up and jawbone for a while or what? What's up? What's up, Wicked Wally?
Never let a good crisis go to waste, right?
Right. That's damn right. Damn right. And the interesting, look, it's only interesting to me, right? But when we were really talking about this stuff the other day, when it first started happening, right? And the Wally hit Vengeful Truther up. He's a mod, and he'll get you the link on Discord. I don't think I have you on Discord, Wally. So, but hit hit any of the mods up, they'll get you covered, man. But
I don't know if I do or not either.
Yeah, I don't have Wall. I don't think I have Wally in my. I mean, I might.
Yeah, I don't see him.
I don't know. Dude, I got so many people in my Discord now.
I don't. So fuck. But people don't necessarily want to hear a bunch of gun prattle all the fucking time either.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Hawaii or Japan. Is what California's or Newsom wants to turn LA into California. So.
What do you mean? Turn LA into California? What? Huh?
No, I mean no. I said LA into Japan.
No, you said LA into California. Yeah, that's why I said what? What the fuck? What?
Yeah,
huh? What?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it would be cool to have a city like Tokyo or some shit in the States because I've never been there, but just from all the shit I've seen, it just fucking looks cool.
All right, Darwin, we'll see you, buddy. We'll see you, man. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
I don't give a fuck. I'll just talk over if you have to, but
motherfucker just keeps running, and he doesn't even know. You know what it is? He turns his hearing aids down, and then he can't hear me, so he just keeps talking.
Me? Nah. No.
Yeah.
I'm used to talking a lot. I went for an hour and a half earlier ranting about fucking gun safety rules.
Dude, that's a great conversation to have because I've had like some serious, you know why that is Vengeful Truth. I mean, Raging Patriot. The reason that is because I gave it to Mr. Boulay, and I don't think Mr. Boulay's been in yet. And so I will do that now. Boom. Just like that. But I used to really piss off people because I tell people all the time that while I learned the 4 rules when I was a kid, really the only one that anyone ever actually cared about, well, the only 2 that anyone ever actually cared about was checking to see if it's unloaded and then, of course, treating it as if it's loaded anyway. And don't point at anybody. Other than that, they really didn't give a shit.
Well, there's so much. The problem is that there. First of all, if you take the 4 rules in the text, in the wording that is used most commonly, we're talking about most Hunters Ed, the NSSF, Eddie Eagle, those types of things, right? They use these hardcore definitive words like always and never, which is fucking stupid, and then. It's just like crazy, like scare tactic shit. Like, don't point it at anything you don't want to destroy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, put a hole in something that's not necessarily destroying it, right?
Might even make it better.
Well, it's possible. But, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so, be sure of your target and what's beyond it. Well, how the fuck are you going to be sure of what's behind a berm? Like, seriously. Like, the berm's there. That's good. That's fucking good enough. So there is subjectivity to the rules depending on certain scenarios and situations, which creates a lot of nuance. And that's fine. I get that you need some basics to teach kids, to teach the
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. The black square formerly known as... Oh, no, he turned his camera on. I was going to say the black square formerly known as the Wicked Wally.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're raging about stupid ass rules. Hey, you know something, Clover Tack? I agree with that because when I was a youngster, I used to practice my shooting from the hip with my Red Ryder BB gun at the stop sign, and nobody ever gave a shit.
Well, now you have so many fucking, safety zealots, right?
Right. No, and that's exactly what
I've got a video, and that's where this popped up, right? I've got a video where I am doing some ballistics testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got the camera set up off to like my right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's irrelevant, but you get what I'm saying. And so I'm shooting, and so I shoot through the chrono. I'm shooting at actually water jugs that are set up. I typically use those for, to try to get some type of idea of expansion, that sort of thing. And so in between shots, I drop to a ready position, right? Not on target, right? And I turn to the camera and I give the chrono reading. And I said, that chrono reading was so-and-so. We'll collect that in a minute. I come back up. And then I got these fucking safety zealots. Oh, your finger's still on the trigger. Well, my finger's in the trigger guard, but it's not necessarily on the trigger.
Why
Right?
would it not be on the trigger though?
And even if it is, who cares? Because the muzzle is pointed down range. But even there, and it's on a closed range at that. But then also, this fucking safety zealots are bitching because you're not, I've got it in a low ready. And like, I should have the safety on and my finger off the trigger and all that shit in a low ready. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, but it's the same assholes that'll say, treat all guns as if they're loaded. Well, good fucking luck working on one or cleaning it, motherfucker. If that's the case.
Look, I've gone through this
Good
too.
luck.
Dude, I've gone through this too where, well, first of all, one of the first things they'll tell you is, if you question, is they're like, hey, you can't have your finger even inside the trigger guard. You can't touch the trigger, any of that. And I'm like, why is that? Well, you might accidentally trigger it. And I'm like, yeah, but that's fine because I know it's loaded. So I'm pointing it in places where I need it to be pointed.
It's a specific situation, right?
Right. Yeah. Like I intend to point the gun there. And then they're like, well, you might AD or something like that. I'm like, no, I mean, it could be an ND, but I don't know if it's an accident exactly because I do have my finger on the fucking trigger.
Right.
And they're like, well, you could trip and shoot yourself or something. I'm like, I could fucking roll out of bed tomorrow morning and crack my head against my nightstand and go to sleep forever.
I could have a stroke listening to your dumb ass being a fucking safety zealot right now. So shut the fuck up.
I could. I mean, in the insulated world that these people live in, I've had the same arguments a lot. And what's worse is when there's an actual fucking rule about how unsafe I can be. That's great. So I don't know if you know, Wally, do you shoot? Are you a shooter?
I haven't been much of one, but my brother goes a lot. My brother moved out to Arizona because he decided he was no longer compatible with the state of Massachusetts when it came to firearms.
Well, that's
there you go,
bro.
Yeah, it's way better. So
somehow though, my brother came into legal possession of an AK-47 in Massachusetts, which I'm surprised didn't put him on a list.
He probably was on a list. I'm on all the lists. But so here's the thing. So there's actually a rule in USPSA and they had to put this rule in because the gunslingers were drawing so quickly that they would and the triggers were so light they'd sometimes trigger on the way out of the holster on the way to the target. Right as they're coming up on the target, they would have enough pressure to throw the round down range. They actually have a rule that if the round strikes the ground or an object, I think it's outside of a 10-foot circle around the shooter. I think it could be 9 foot, whatever it is. There's a specific circle. It's under 10 feet. If it's outside of that, it's not considered a negligent discharge. If it is inside of that, it's considered a negligent discharge, and you'll be disqualified.
Yeah.
The fact that they have a fucking rule for this is weird as shit.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll get out the fucking tape measure too. They will get out the fucking tape measure and measure that shit down to the inch.
I went down that road earlier too because that was brought up in the chat in my stream, and I entertained it. We went down that road, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about matches, there are specific rules for specific matches, and at the end of the day, it's hard to buck those the same way as the 4 basic rules because they're not really universal. They're rules of a game, right? Yeah. It's like saying, "Oh fuck, I'm not going to dribble in basketball in this basketball game or some shit." Right. Well, then you're not going to play. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just an interesting thing that they have an actual rule for it because obviously anything that doesn't hit you, then you should just automatically understand that guns go off, bullets come out of the end of the gun. Try not to shoot yourself in the ass, right?
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm pretty sure every time I hear like the safety alarmism, I always think of that death scene in like the third or fourth season of Fargo. You got the assassin does the thing, and then they're doing the dramatic slow walk away in slow-mo.
Mm-hmm.
Then the camera shows him stepping on a piece of gum, trip, fall, somehow shoot himself under the chin.
that would be a great skit for Clover Tack to do. Just in the interest of safety awareness. John Deadman says he's seen a misfire. He's not arguing, but look, I've seen misfires too.
We see them. We see them all the time. We have them. We
were talking about this the other night because we were talking about how my brother shot himself in the hand.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen. I didn't watch it happen, but I was at a range where a guy who was practicing drawing from appendix shot himself in his leg, missed his nuts by not much. And by the way, the concussion will still fuck up your nuts. Just throw that out there for all you appendix carriers out there.
Yeah, shockwave's the thing. Yeah, the heat too off the muzzle blast.
Yeah.
It's probably not fun.
Blow torches next to my nuts has never been on my list.
It sends a few pubes if you ain't careful.
Yeah.
See, the best accidents are the ones that always lead to some kind of physical comedy for everyone else to look at.
Yeah.
Like a buddy of mine, he was a carpenter. One day he was doing some roofing work, and he says, he's like, I had the nail gun in my hand. He's like, I'm climbing up higher, and as I do, I'm doing a shingle. He goes, somehow my whole arm slips, and the nail gun goes straight into my thigh, right above my knee. Puts a nail in my thigh. And he's like, and then I fall back off of the ladder and I land on the ground. He's like, I laughed.
That sounds less than fun. But
it wasn't, but he said for some reason, he's like, I was laughing about it the whole way I drove myself to the ER.
I've got to kind of cover a little bit more on John Deadman's question of about, finger on the trigger. So here's the thing. If I have my finger on the trigger, I'm intending to pull it very soon.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do this. And so there's actually a rule. Again, it's weird they have rules, but they have this rule. And I like rules because it tells me what I can and cannot do. And I will point to those and say, see, I'm within the rules. And one of the things is that you can't have your finger in the trigger unless you're engaging targets. So literally, I will be running and I will engage targets as I'm running just so that I can continue to do what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
When am I going to do some invasions? Are you talking about like TikTok or something? I don't TikTok. Do you see how fucking old I am?
May not have the opportunity.
I'm waiting for Brian to do the next TikTok thing that they're going to have because I actually got something to press Brian on.
Do you really?
Yeah. I think I got an argument for him to crush one of his long-standing points on the show.
Which long-standing point?
When he goes after the women who are the born-again virgins with why do I have to wait? You didn't make any of these guys wait.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of flack for that. He's taking a lot of heat.
But I think I've had that argument against him, and I haven't been able to fully give all my arguments on it, so I want to actually give them to him directly.
Hey, what's up, Mikey Balls? Good to see you, buddy. We were talking about you earlier. Glad you came in.
I did super chat it once, and Andrew was on the show at the time, and I remember, you can see Andrew kind of lean over to him and be like, dude, that's actually a really good argument. You might be in trouble.
Mikey should get the fuck up here. What's he doing?
Mikey should come up. But, so, he's been pressed on that before. You know what? At the end of the day, the thing is that it's his preference, right?
Yeah.
And that's all he has to say. That's just my preference. Like, I don't care. That's a problem with a lot of this, is that it's his preference that is the way it happens, and it's on him that he's getting upset. I think it would be worth arguing with him if his position is that you made all these other dudes wait. Now now you're making me wait, and you can't. And this girl's not making any explanation as to new donation. TTS coming in.
Silver Ogre donated $10. Super chat.
Love the TTS.
Don't say old, say, see how mature or seasoned I am.
I really appreciate that vote of confidence, but I'm just fucking old. So it's all right.
So TTS is $10.
The TTS has been lowered to $10. Yes.
Holy shit!
Now you see, Grid. This is why I always tell this when I joke around with women. I say, no, men don't get old. Only old women get old. Men get more distinguished.
That's true. That's true. It is true.
And crotchety and cantankerous.
Well, we're allowed. And we do get more awesome, Craig M. That is true. I am fucking amazing right now.
Exactly.
Wally, did you see the debate last night that I did?
I saw some of it, and then my friend called me up, so I ended up shooting the shit for a while.
All right.
Did they talk much about the wildfires? Because I don't know what those celebrities are complaining about. I thought they've always told me fires means protest peacefully.
They did not. We did not talk any last night about. I mean, basically, the only reason they referenced Hollywood land at all was to justify FEMA's existence after I pointed out that people in North Carolina are still sleeping in tents and having to carry water from pump stations because all of the aid has left except for the churches. FEMA is failed these people, and they turned it. Of course, obviously, when you're in a dramatic or dynamic environment like a debate, they immediately pivoted, and so I had to chase them down and beat them with more logic and durability. But one of the things that I'm really proud. So one of the things I've been trying to do, Wally, really proud of myself for this. When I'm arguing with a known leftist, no matter how centrist they claim to be, but when I'm in a debate or a confrontation with a known leftist, I love to use CNN to refute their arguments. I fucking love that shit. Because the thing about CNN is they post absolutely bullshit, and then they have to post a retraction. Or the title is absolute bullshit, but the article, if you actually read it, it gives you good information, right? And so last night I made what appeared to be the wild-ass claim that all of the initial air support and people getting airlifted out of these dangerous places in the mountains where the roads have been washed out, where the bridges were gone, and four-wheel drives weren't getting back there or out. That all of the aerial support initially was private, and of course they immediately went full retard on that, and which was fine. I was expecting that, and then you could just see Non-Fon's face do the Destiny. What? And like his head's like what? And he does the I can't do it because I'm not methed up or anything, so I can't do that. But you understand what I'm talking about. The extreme double take, right? And like I just said that the Earth is not only flat, it's square, right? Like that's what it's like
cube Earth.
And so I was prepared because I knew he was going to do that. And of course, the leftist that was literally smoking pot the whole time, the guy up in the upper left, he's like, well, I saw that. That was just like the one guy, and they were going to arrest him. And I'm like, yeah, that wasn't even FEMA that threatened to arrest him. It was the sheriff that threatened to arrest him, exceeded his authority, and blah, blah, blah. And so that guy shut up. But I know Nonfon was getting ready to say, no. There was all that FEMA did everything. It was all the government. They threw the blank, you couldn't fly. It was a no-fly zone and all that shit. And I'm like, well, none of that's true. They did actually try to enforce a no-fly zone, but they can't do that. The FAA can do that. That FEMA can't do that. And then I pulled out that article from CNN that 100 volunteer helicopter pilots and aircraft flew over 400 flights a day to go retrieve, move people to safety and fly in supplies where they could. And it lit like he didn't say another fucking word about it. Like you could see he was all prepared to pounce. And then I was like, hey, wait a minute. Before Nonfon goes, I just want to make sure that he understands. Like, I'm going to back my claim up with this article, blah, 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 blah. And you can just see it. I love it, man. I love to crush the soul right at the beginning so I can watch the slow, like, what the fuck? What do I fucking say now? And of course, he didn't have anything to say, which I really like Nonfon. I think, have you gone up against him yet?
No, I saw him debate with Scott a little bit, like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Dude, Scott fucked him up.
Yeah, they did that little.
It was ugly, man.
Thing with Gibbs' show.
Yeah, dude, that was so bad. Like,
see, my schedule doesn't collide with a lot of these Twitch poll people. Like, they all try to sleep like normal human beings, apparently. Because they're all in the States. But they're not all professional vampires like me.
Yeah. I figure you just living that streamer life. So, but
you work overnight, you feel like you do anyway, because you feel like most streamers, sleep during the day a lot.
Yeah. Unless they're flow state. Flow state's like awake 24/7, man. I don't know what's up with that guy. But
I don't know. I think I've spoken to him once. So anything else I know about him, I only know from other people. So I can't say much about him at all. I haven't had enough interaction to say he's treated me one way or another.
Yeah, Flow State's. He's actually good. Oh, did he say fucking? He's in the goddamn chat. Motherfucker. That's funny. That was fun. I sleep during the day.
I think maybe we were on a panel briefly once on Glenn's channel many moons ago, and it was like early morning, so I think we were both kind of running out of gas at the time anyway.
Yeah, I didn't realize Flo was in the fucking house. That was weird. But yeah, so Flo's about that streamer life. He is. He's about the streamer life. I'll go to bed and wake up, and that motherfucker's still going. And he'll go for like 2 or 3 more hours. Between him and Glenn, it's a weird deal.
Yeah, it's like I've told people like I would try to do more stuff in the afternoons, like when I wake up some days, but ever since coming out of lockdown, most stuff around here closes by like 9 o'clock at the absolute latest. So it's like I got to be like, it's like 6, 7 o'clock. It's like I got to be getting errands done if I haven't been moving my ass all afternoon yet.
Yeah, you do like computer shit, right?
Yeah.
I thought that you said something. I couldn't remember. Have you gone up against the Furby?
Yeah, I've gone up against the Furby. We had a 1v1 on VK back in November.
Okay.
And I've been on more than my fair share of panels, I feel, with Furby. Haven't seen Furby in like a couple weeks around.
Dude, I was on a panel. I was on Sarah's show last week. I just popped on for a few minutes, and they were talking about business, which is I really dislike it when they start talking. You know, when the fucking communist starts talking about business and shit. And so I got up there, and I just the only thing I really needed to say was to tell the Furby to shut its furry butthole. You didn't know what it was talking about, and
I
don't understand. I don't understand, to be honest with you. And I get that the Furby provides a lot of drama, and it provides a lot of a lot of people just want to show up and see what the fuck's going to happen, see what kind of train wreck it's going to be. Yeah. But on the other side, the Furby actually annoys so many people and drives them away, right? Like if I see the Furby on the panel, unless it's a really good topic, I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gone. I don't want to hear that whiny ass voice. And
I wanted to fight Furby in a 1v1 on the VK that took place on my actual birthday and kick the Furby off on my birthday. But somehow it happened a week early.
Oh, that's too bad.
So then the next week, Furby's like, aren't we going to fight for your birthday? I'm like, I just kicked your ass last week. Someone else can kick you off for me.
Oh, there you go.
It's my birthday. I'm gonna put my feet up, in fact, now.
My actual issue with the Furby. Initially, I didn't have an issue with the Furby, but then literally every position it takes is something that really is so far out of bounds. Pornography freely given to children. Like that, dude, come on. Right?
Yeah, it's like you're not brave for biting the bullet. You're really not. That's what the Furby thinks.
That's just stupid. And then that's the other one. Other position. Oh, the anti-2A bullshit that from and literally all it does is it just goes off of this playlist, and once you push it off of that, it just repeats the same thing over and fucking over again.
Oh, so the Furby's anti-2A?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Don't learn from Pulse, huh? Okay.
The Furby has
don't understand Pink Pistols and what is the other one?
The Furby has all the boilerplate far left talking points.
Yeah.
We were talking about business the other day, and I was talking about broken window fallacy and some other stuff, and the Furby obviously couldn't follow along, and it just and I forget who it was. It really wasn't trying to aim. It wasn't really aiming anything at me. It was aiming it at somebody else, and they just kept talking about Marxism. And I'm like, and it literally kept, I forget who was on that panel that they were going after, but they were just got like, well, you just don't understand Marxism. And
we'll get it right next time. We'll get that Marxism right next time.
Right. And the Furby literally asked, can you give me an example of where pure Marxism's been applied and failed? And I was like, shut your furry butthole. Nobody cares about Marxism. We're talking about business here.
That's like asking if you can give me an example where there's unregulated capitalism in the world today. There absolutely isn't. We haven't had unregulated capitalism probably since before the Civil War.
Maybe. Yeah.
Or the closest to it, at the very least. I mean, maybe you could say during Reconstruction, when they were out west and Tombstone was a place, you could say that was unregulated capitalism because there was no real government authority out there.
So I like if I'm going to debate somebody, I like somebody that's going to make mistakes, going to misspeak, and that way that way I know their viewpoint is honest, right? I really hate, and I will go, and that's actually why I go after the Furby now. I really hate people that just use canned arguments. I fucking hate it. Like, that's the worst fucking thing. Like, I really want to destroy your entire world at that point, because there's no good faith there. It's not your position. I mean, it might be what you believe, but you actually don't. You're just regurgitating somebody else's position, and I hate that, man. Absolutely hate that.
Yeah, it's like when they were going through topics last week, and for me to take on somebody, and like the topic of death penalty came up. I said, look, I can make arguments for or against. My genuine personal opinion, it's like, you ask me my personal position, I'm going to say, like, you know what, I think broadly I'd be against it, but if you give me like the right person, I would say, hey, you want to string them up? I don't care.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like Luke last night and Tiki Tac kind of started having a discussion, and I think Tiki Tac was a little tired and maybe I don't know what was going on, but you know, he made a mistake. He said that lying is a logical fallacy. It's not. It's not a logical fallacy. It is a fallacy. It's not a logical fallacy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, people would say misinformation is just strategy. Look at the TED offensive.
Right. Yeah, misinformation. Yeah, right. But anyway. But that's a genuine error that can happen, right? Like I respect people more when they make mistakes and say, okay, you know what, I misspoke, or hey, let me reframe my position so that it's more accurate, right? I respect people that can debate and discuss things in that way, but I have zero respect for the Furby.
Yeah.
Zero. And actually, what's interesting is that Nev, who I used to not have any respect for, probably hates the Furby more than me.
And that's funny.
Right. And what's interesting is that
that's the death match I didn't know I needed to see till just.
And what's interesting about it is I didn't like Nev because mostly I felt like that Nev was not completely genuine in the arguments they use. But really, at least when it comes to the Furby, she's been 100% good faith, and the Furby's been absolute bad faith. Yeah. So I gotta pick the good faith actor, you know, like I gotta do it. There's no way around it. So,
I tried to make the same points with Furby so many times in that thing where I said, here's a phone. Now, we would agree, like, a phone is not a rock, but they can both be used as a paperweight, right? But it doesn't mean the phone has the components of a rock.
Yeah.
That's when I finally gave up in our not gave up, but my end of our debate was at one point to basically go, look, I'm just going to let you say whatever stupid things you want to say for the remainder of our time till you get to the point where you tell me when the chromosomes change.
Right. Gotcha. Flow State, I did send you the link, and I sent a bunch of people the link. You guys don't have to come up, but you know, it helps me out because I'm really tired after last night, so I'm trying to.
I don't blame you, because I imagine most of the immigration debate was exhausting.
For somebody who's fucking tired, you sure do interrupt your guest on the panel an awful fucking lot, Grid. That's all I gotta say.
It's my job. I have to do my job.
This is true. You got to be an annoying fuck. Is that what you're saying?
It's right there in it was on the sign when you walked in. If you missed it, I can't help you, brother.
It was like in 3-inch letters too. But you know, I'm just an East Texas redneck. I'm about half dyslexic, and then the other half's illiterate. So
yeah.
There's sometimes
Hold on, wait. The 1v1 with Evan, where Furby told Evan he wanted to eat his unborn children. That was fucked. I didn't see that, but that sounds pretty fucked up. I'm gonna be honest.
I think Evan despises the Furby more than I even do.
I don't know anybody that likes the Furby. Except maybe Sarah. I think Sarah tolerates it because it brings money in.
I think just from like our interactions, the one positive thing, like
all hail the Pope.
The one positive thing Furby's had to say about me is that was like, oh well, Wally's the only one I've debated who doesn't just default to, well, you're not a woman.
Yeah, I don't bring that up at all.
Yeah, it's like I don't need to do that. I think everything else Furby says is stupid enough on its own. I don't need
yeah, I don't need to. I don't have to go after the low hanging fruit. There's much lower hanging fruit. And Flow State, every time Flow State has debated with Furby, he's not gone after that either.
Nah, it's a tacky attack.
Yeah, Flow has standards. They're low, but they're there.
Yeah, I actually think I find it kind of annoying and retarded that everybody always has to go there. Like, we all know they're not men, right? Everybody's already aware of this.
Women,
or whatever. You know, they're not whatever. What we can agree on is that they're bitches.
Right. We can't agree.
And by they, I mean the Furby.
Yeah, the Furby is and look, again, to be honest, when the Furby first started coming around, it seemed very innocuous. It wasn't really trying to piss people off, and then it just went batshit. I think, honestly, I watched it go back. The first time I went batshit, it was on Glenn's stream, and it was Glenn and Flo and a couple other people and the Furby, and they started talking money first, and Flo tore that furry little ass up, and then
pause,
and then they started talking guns, and banning was it banning porn or just porn for kids or some crap like that, and Flo really got into that ass, and Furby was yelling.
Whoa. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Whoa.
For
bad
that.
choice of words.
Pump the brakes on that, Clover. Exactly.
Furby yell? I can't bear such disparagement, such besmirchment.
Yeah, I can get under the Furby skin, but it's such a bad faith little piece of shit that it's just an energy and time sinkhole. So I try not to let myself get caught up in that.
It was beautiful though, Flo. That was actually when I decided that I liked you. I was like, you know what, Flo's probably okay.
I think it was. Right. I think it was Furby on one morning panel one time. We were both starting to bring up some really old blood sports history shit from we're talking Gamergate days and beyond. And I'm like, oh, so you're a creature of this part of the internet too. Now I know how to handle you if you've crawled around in here as long as I have.
Yeah. That was funny. Luke caught it. Luke caught what I said. All I'm just going to say is that Flow State, all the arguments were they're just bad arguments, bad faith, just canned. I hate canned.
Well,
arguments.
it sounds like it's just unresearched talking points for the most part. That's the amount of research that's done.
Well, it's bad. It's bad faith. Yeah, I've argued enough times with the Furby. It's always a bad faith thing. It can get clearly checkmated. There's just no intellectual integrity.
Won't admit that you beat it.
Right. Which, I'm pretty patient. You saw me debate Based Oracle, for instance, right?
That was hilarious.
I can play whack-a-mole for a long time, but if you're going to sit here and try to lie to me to my face, I'm like, Furby's always bad faith.
Yeah.
I'd rather, if I had to pick, if there was any like as far as like lefties that I've had arguments with, and like I would rather talk to Vigilante for 24 hours than talk to Furby. And I already spent 3+ hours one day giving Vigilante a concussion uninterrupted.
I haven't run into Vigilante. Is Dennison a leftist, or is he just weird?
He's weird. I think he's kind of pseudo communist. But see, he won't. Dennison is another. I don't know if disingenuous is right or cowardly, but Dennison really tries not to stand in a square. Right? You can tell where his position is based on what he attacks, but he won't ever tell you what his position is.
Okay. Yeah, I called him out on that one day, and he got really mad and like yelled at me and left.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't take criticism well at all.
Yeah. So,
which makes it more fun.
It did actually make it more fun. It was. I just, whatever.
I mean, a lot of the ones that people will follow, especially like the ones you're seeing more from like the Twitch side grid, are like most of them can only know the boilerplate arguments on everything, because even in a lot of cases, when you actually think about it, those are the only arguments Twitch TOS will let them give, is the boilerplate arguments, if that.
Yeah, I don't know how I manage, honestly, because I'm on. I do Twitch arguments. I'm on. I don't go on Twitch anymore. But I do the Reverie debate panel. I've been doing it for the past few weeks, and then I've been doing Gibbs is. Last night I did this debate thing with Gibbs, and it was beautiful. But it's hosted and moderated by an absolute leftist. This guy thinks Trump should be in jail. He literally has not gone a panel debate without bringing up Israeli genocide. And he says genocide, right?
Yep.
And this guy is left, and I tear him up, and they like it because honestly, these leftists have no energy, dude. They can't match my energy for sure. And it's pretty funny. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot. Is Hot Tub Boobies Twitch e-girl? No. But we do have. There is a debate girl, Katya, however you say it, and she gets wrecked every debate. Like, her positions are so horrible, all predictably communist, all predictably leftist.
I was looking for her last night. I didn't see her. I was disappointed.
She was there.
Oh, was she?
Yeah. She didn't really say a lot.
I don't think a lot of the
debate girl sounds like a contradiction. I'm liking Luke more and more, to be honest with you.
I don't think many of the Twitch people I've run into have ever wanted to have me back near them, because when they love to bring up all the international relations topics, it's like, dude, I research international relations for a living. I will walk you through this like a dog.
The Furby's over on Sarah's right now. Just let you know that.
Oh, I know. That's why I left.
Wow. Damn, son. Call it out. We've got $2 coming in from John Mosman. Let's get the grift going. Good to see you, Grid. Actually, the grift's been a little low tonight. We need more. We need to grift some more. I'm not particularly good at grifting. I do my best, but
grift hard to grift harder.
That's right. Yeah, it's interesting. And I've been looking for more guests to have on, right? So that's a big thing. I try not to bring leftists on the show because in general they spurg out. They do not make any good points. They do not make good guests. In my experience. Now, if you guys know some leftists that can come on and have a reasonable conversation and all of that, I would actually really probably like to have them on. What's his name? Shiv. Shiv would probably be good.
Shiva is good depending on the topic you want, really.
Yeah.
He's, especially with him living in the UK, he really doesn't like engaging on foreign policy debates domestic foreign policy debates with the US and shit.
Yeah.
But he'll do your basic YouTube philosophy bro stuff all day long.
Yeah. Let me throw this out there. $5 from Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics. CloverTech, what's your take on the USCCA fallout on YouTube? It's finally going public, guys. It's finally going public.
Yeah, they're just not handling their shit, man. I don't know. There's been issues there for a long time. That's why you've seen, especially Right to Bear, which is carry insurance with. It's kind of an offshoot of the Palmetto State Armory empire, I guess you could call it. And they've been around for several years now. And one of the reasons they started was that they seen some of the issues with USCCA, and I realized USCCA was really having issues. What was that? 19 maybe? I can't remember. Something like that, 19 or 20 maybe.
Right before the vid.
They had their they had their expo in Fort Worth, and I talked with them at length up there about a lot of different things, and one of the things was they had a contract there in Fort Worth at that venue for 5 years, this, that, and the other. And the next year it's in fucking Milwaukee or some shit, and it's like. So they were, they bailed on the contract in Fort Worth. It's jacked up, man.
So I remember and actually when I went to SHOT Show that one year, they were handing out free T-shirts and hey, there's no obligation, just wear the T-shirt, blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, it's cool. And I kind of looked into it, and I'm like, well, I'm okay with kind of the principle here, but I don't understand, it's like Law Tigers or something, where you're prepaying for legal representation. I think you're better off with a local attorney that you can talk to and understand and all of that. So I didn't really understand their gig. And then I figured out that it's legal insurance and it's kind of a Ponzi scheme, but not really. And anyway, my biggest problem came when they started coming into my local gun range, and they were paying the range owner to let them. They would put these ammo boxes with a T-shirt and some other stuff in it, and they were if you joined, it was this gift pack that you got, and they gave away a free, I don't know, a free gun safety class or some bullshit. But it was very strange because it just seemed like nobody was getting anything back out of it. And I think that's right about the time a lot of the other pardon me. A lot of the other gun tuber guys were kind of seeing the same thing go on, and then that case came out in late 2019. And I can't remember the name of the guy, the person who was involved in a self-defense shooting was USCCA did not hold up their end at all. So and then I don't know, it was a debacle. A lot of people started falling out of love with him, and I was just never in love with him that much. I just thought it was great to start with, and then I didn't really see any promise. I don't know. You're probably closer to that, Clover Tack.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed to live where I live and have the connections that I have, and a lot of other things. And the whole carry insurance thing to me is pretty much a racket and bullshit. Anyway, I can say if I was gonna go with any of them right now that are out there, I would probably go with Right to Bear, because it's more of a, like, what is that? What is the Aflac? It's more of like if you're familiar with the way Aflac works with insurance, Right to Bear works in a very similar way to that. So it's insurance, but it's kind of a weird ass, we'll pay you back, or we'll, you know what I mean, type thing.
Yeah.
We pay X number of dollars for X sort of things, type deal. Or pay, but it's, I guess, unlike Aflac, and I don't know, I've never had Aflac, so I could be wrong. I'm talking about my ass when it comes to Aflac. I have a very narrow understanding of the way that even works, but that's my grasp of it anyway. It's a similar situation to where they cover very certain things. It's not like they agree to take a case or this, that, and the other. They basically get you some money, and you find a lawyer to take the case, right? Type issue.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they work. So, I do like that model. I think a little better. It gives more flexibility and freedom for the consumer, right? To move about and do the things that are right for them. And it also, you got to realize that there's also cronyism that happens a lot, which really fucking
100%.
sucks, and that happens in any type of business, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But you get certain insurance companies that they have their lawyers, right? And so their lawyers are getting rich on the back of the company on behalf of the customer, and it's not really the client or the customer is not really the primary concern. It's enriching the company and or the lawyers that work for the company.
That's all true. That's all true. Yeah, I would probably feel differently about it if I lived in like California, where you're going to go to jail regardless. But here in Tennessee, I'm not worried about it. So
yeah, it's like nobody would feel like they need to have any kind of carry insurance up in New Hampshire. You can open carry all you want without a license. You don't need a permit for basically anything in New Hampshire.
Well,
the only reason in New Hampshire I think you might need a license to carry is if you were to be required to have one for work purposes. Like if
it's not
wants it documented that you have a license to carry, you may have to get one.
Yeah, so the USCCA, their big thing is that if you had to use your firearm, that in the current political environment in a lot of places, you're going to go to jail. It's going to be bad for you. And it's just, there's no upside to it, right? You need these people and their connections and all of that standing behind you. And that was kind of the big draw, right? That was the thing. That was what was supposed to happen. And so my personal experience, I've not had, not been in that myself, but I've watched people who've had to defend themselves. And yes, they absolutely, their gun was confiscated. It spent a long time in an evidence bin because it was evidence. They were investigated. They definitely, officers were going around asking very tough questions to all their friends and family and all of that. All that stuff really happened, but it's not like it was out of bounds. It's not like it was like, like any different than if you had crashed your car, or something. I mean, it's all legal. And and I always felt like that a local lawyer that knew the judges, knew you, or maybe, at least knew the community that you live in, is probably going to do a really good job for you. And sure, you might have to work something out on the billing, but,
Yeah, like no matter what kind of assistance service people pay into, like there's all whatever kind of situation you're trying to like buy against is there's always stuff that's going to happen that's pretty standard across the board in a lot of things. Like I've heard different people say like, look, if in that kind of case, like where even if you're acting in self-defense, even if you're right, people will say you're probably going to end up hanging around the police station for 24 hours. Even if you're in the right, like expect to be like, make some arrangement. They'll let you probably make arrangements for like your family or whatever before you got to go, but expect
depends on the officer that responds and the prosecutor. There's no recourse for a prosecutor to go, fuck it, charge him.
Right. Yeah, I've had a dreaded Windows Update apparently issue, but I've known multiple
the update makes you look good.
I've known multiple instances of people that I know around here. I've had multiple instances and several within, I'd say, two at least within the last, I'd say, 10 years that were self-defense deletions that happened. And it was literally no night in jail, no firearms confiscated, basically sign some paperwork, spend maybe a couple of hours at the scene and talking with law enforcement and that sort of thing, and get in the fucking truck and go home. Like, no court date, nothing happened. But again, it's as in real estate, right? Location. There's places that's not the case. You got overzealous DAs and police departments and other things. But I'm just lucky that
absolutely, man. Absolutely, I would not.
We have common sense here,
I would not want to have. I don't care what you did. I don't care if you had USCCA or not. If something happened in like California or Colorado, I mean, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be a horrible experience for you. Just guaranteed.
I would count on that if you're out of county. If you are not in the county that you're a resident of,
I mean,
then an opportunity, right?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that very well could be. Sure.
Yeah, there's definitely some places where it's like, like in Massachusetts, if they can legally hold you for 24 hours, even for a self-defense shoot, they're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna try to find a way to charge you at that point.
Sure.
It's just how certain states are. They're going to look for every reason, and they're going to make sure they got their hands on you as long as they legally can to do it.
Yeah, that is 100% the truth. 100%. I mean, out of county, yeah, you're probably right.
The problem with Cam the King out there says, just hide the body, take your chances. The problem here with hiding the body, as opposed to just calling the funeral home to come pick it up, is the latter is perfectly acceptable and legal if the body has been taken on my property for whatever reason I fucking deem necessary. If I hide the body, then I'm in trouble. That's desecration of a corpse.
No,
right there,
overtack. You don't call the funeral home. You're supposed to call in a dinner reservation for one. Haven't you seen John Wick?
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't even have a corner. Like, you literally call the funeral home.
True. Flow State. We've talked guns and everything else, man. You've been awfully quiet. You got anything you want to roll by us or anything?
Actually, I've been filling out my petition for expungement so that I can play guns too again.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You gonna send that up to Trump, or what's the plan?
Fuck no. I'm just gonna go take it through the regular thing. I'm representing myself, so.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
All right.
What do they normally say? Only a great fool hires himself for an attorney.
I think I feel like that. Honestly, I feel like Flo has a reasonable chance.
I've represented myself on several matters successfully.
Yeah, I have too. I couldn't afford a lawyer for family court, so.
Yeah,
you went to family court
years ago over my son. There were different times that it's like I spent I separated from his mom for good when he was 3. And then for a few years, we basically just did everything by a handshake. I took him every weekend on like Friday nights or Saturday mornings, brought him back Sunday nights, then went about my work week. And then occasionally she would have her boyfriend, now husband, or her mom, who is no longer with us, putting gas in her tank, and I'd have a court case every couple of years. So,
yeah, I see that.
Wait, what was that? I must have missed something.
Well, she would basically start suddenly filing requests to courts, being like, I want this, I want that. And then the reasons she would give in the court filings were because I'm his mom and I said so.
That's flawless.
I remember having a good laugh at it. I'm like, she basically just wrote in this, because I said so, give me what I want.
I mean, that always worked before.
Like, this is why I tell people like who don't understand how it works when you're a parent. It's like family court is very long. It's very boring to go through. Like the first thing we went to, one time we showed up, it was a scheduling hearing, or whatever they would call like a scheduling hearing basically. Or it's like, you got like 30 cases in that one courtroom going up to the judge one at a time. And he's like, do you want a court date or do you want to mediate? It's essentially what they're doing.
Sure.
And they were really confident till the guy that we got in front of looked like he could have passed a Fred Thompson lookalike contest and was not taking crap from any of the moms that came up before her. So like we were like the fourth one up, and by the time we got up there, it was like tail between her legs, and like she's like, "I'd like to mediate if he's okay with it, Your Honor."
Mr. Boulay, I see that in chat, dude. I'm beat too. I'm tired. Like I don't mind. That's one of the reasons why I'm letting everybody else talk so much. Is I'm fucking tired. It's easier to just
lean on me.
Well. And this is why I've argued with people before, Grid, when people talk about like the numbers of like dads involved in like court cases and everything. And like, for me, it's not an issue of numbers. It's actually when you go to like fathers' rights groups that are on like Facebook, anywhere else, where you'll actually see men like swapping the stories. None of it is like, guys, I'm so stupid. I don't know how to go down to the court and write out papers. Like, can you help me do this? No, that's none of it out there. The stories you're always going to see are guys who are already gone through all the trouble of getting a court order, and the court won't enforce it. Like, they'll go...
Yeah, I think it's regional. I think it's regional.
You see so many guys who are like, I show up to get my kids, my ex-wife says no, I call the cops, say I got a court order, they won't make her let the kids go.
Yeah, because you got to take that back to family court and press charges for contempt.
Yeah, so I've got a buddy of mine.
For a lot of guys, with how long you may wait for a court date becomes another 3 to 4 months before you're seeing your kids, unless you can push an emergency hearing through.
Got to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. That's why I said the biggest issues they have, and this is where I think the real argument is, as far as like, are men not treated as well as they could be in family court, definitely comes down to the enforcement.
Well, I think that men are treated every bit as fairly as women are, and I think that the men's rights activists that like to cry and bitch and moan and act like they're not are doing more harm than good dramatically, because it disincentivizes men to fight for things, when in reality, if men just show up, like I've won sole custody twice. Only once with a lawyer.
No, yeah, I've won it through mediation at least once on my own. So it's like, it's not impossible, but when you actually have, like you said, yeah, it's like, yeah, to a certain point, you got to play the game, because that's where the system is currently structured. But at the same time, I think if there was better enforcement, you'd have less men on the other end getting discouraged before they even go file. because the message you see from all those enforcement issues is, well, the system's not going to help.
Yeah, but I mean that the police don't enforce that. They're not going to go pick up your kid for you and bring it to you. That has to go back to the court and have the custody arrangement modified and have her.
Again, a lot of this is so regional, though. So, like, I have a friend of mine. Now he has really come a long way. Everything seems much better. I don't know. He could still be going through hell, and he's just hiding it really well. But, dude, the things that his ex did to him to try and ruin his life during all of the early years of the child custody stuff was crazy. And the child services agent, or whatever the hell you call them, was always on the wife's side. I don't know if they were friends from school or they just vibed well or whatever, or maybe they were lesbians. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't know the answer. All I know is what I saw. And I'm telling you, in California, that dude got bent over and fucked so hard so many times, he probably didn't even need lube after.
He was just prolapsed.
He was just fucking there. And I mean stuff like, she would not drop off the kids when she was supposed to, and then she would call and claim that he had not come by to pick them up. And the child services agent would write a thing out against it, all kinds of shit like that.
Yeah, it's like I once, from like many years ago, there was a big issue with school attendance, and I remember having to go in, and I met with the principal by myself, and I was going over like the absentee record, and I actually had a copy of like the school district's policy for attendance. And I was going over the line items, and I'm asking the principal, I'm like, where's the truancy report? Where's this? Where's your phone call to this person? Where is everything this policy says you're supposed to do? And I basically begrudgingly dragged it out of the principal that she's telling me, well, look, the policy has teeth, but it's not really intended to be enforced on the parents. I'm like, then why is the policy even here?
Yeah, why does this exist? Yeah, so the interesting thing, though, man, is, and again, it's so regional. So here in Tennessee, I hate to now, men are much more favorably looked on now than they ever have been, but it's slowly changing here. Flo, obviously he put up a good fight and he did all the right things, and he's probably smarter than the average dude who goes into family court, even though he won't admit that. But I'm just saying.
Act like it either.
Huh? I
don't act like it either.
Yeah.
What I have in intelligence, I make up for in being irresponsible and impulsive.
Perfect. Flawless. But I mean, I've just seen so many dudes get screwed, but lately it seems to be, and I'm going to say like probably the last 5 years, 6 years, something like that, maybe a little longer. It seems like that the women are the ones that are screwing up more and more and being called on it. And I'm not saying that they're screwing up more than they ever have. I'm assuming that that's always been the same ratio. They're just getting called on it now, where before I don't think they really were. I think like Flo's case, where he was in that situation, it was really apparent. All of the things were really apparent.
Yeah, and then it like we say, it does depend on. It depends on the state. It depends.
Yeah, I think it's highly regional, right?
Yeah, like there's states where, let's be honest, like Massachusetts is probably one of them down south of me, where it's like you could probably have a single mother found with 5 heroin needles in her arm, and she'll get to keep her kids and get infinite second chances from the state for that.
Oh wow, yeah.
No, these what do you call them?
While you're organizing your thoughts, welcome Moonchild and anyone else coming over from Emma's Den of Evil.
Emma's Den of Evil.
Yeah, it's the Den of Evil. It's this Emma.
I feel like that's a place where I belong. And I feel like that's not the time. What are they doing rating you? What's going on here? Are you becoming
They're not rating
degenerate?
me. They're not rating me. I happen to be in their Discord. I said, "Hey, I'm still live. If you want to come by."
Your degeneracy is coming along nicely, Grid.
I'm not degenerate at all.
You about to be.
See, why you gotta just go straight to advocating for it?
Flo's been trying to make me a degenerate for a long time. Long time. I think this like the second
It's the
minute
key to happiness.
I'm gonna make that guy a degenerate.
But you know what? I'm not the only one. Look, you can't walk around saying I've never had a drink. I've never
ZT then
take a
donated
puff
$10
and
super chat.
not have
This is in honor of Mr. Bull
Love
and his tired eyes. Got those tired eyes? Splash your face with cold water and slap yourself happy using Grondike soap. Woman gesturing. Okay, I'm tired too. I got nothing else.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, ZD Den. I really appreciate the $10. It all helps keep the stream alive. Flow
Yes,
State,
you should always lather up well before you slap yourself happy.
That's with the cold water. Flow State, you were saying I can't be the only person that has.
Who hears that you've never had a drink or a puff or whatever? And
literally everybody.
Every single person
literally
wants to.
Everybody. I literally have friends of mine in the past that have they'll be smoking a cigarette and they'll hand it to me like what am I gonna do with that? I don't fucking smoke.
I'll just roofie you.
That's why Flo and I will never be in the same room.
That's what you think. But what I was going to say is that the misconception that men have that family court is so stacked against them, women also have the same misconception. So they do sloppy shit. When I filed for divorce, my ex-wife was straight cocky about it. She's like, "You fucked up." Like, well,
and you know what? I hear a lot of women say the same thing. I would love to actually have a female up on the panel right now to defend the females, but unfortunately, I don't know that I have enough in here. So, but anyway, yeah, no, I've heard that exact same thing, Flo. He fucked up. I'm taking those kids. He has no idea what's coming for him. Blah blah blah. I've heard it. I'm positive Z Den has heard it.
It's interesting that my ex-wife would make that arrogant mistake because she was raised by her dad when her parents separated. So of all people to.
Yeah.
Although it's I hear people, and I'll even hear I will hear women all the time be like, "Oh yeah, the system is unfair," and that's when I go, "Okay, then let's actually write a petition and reform it and do something." Oh no, we don't mean in that way. We don't mean in the way that practical action actually happens.
Yeah, we just need the actual laws enforced. Arthur Daya has never been married and has no kids, so I'm not sure her expertise helps us here. Sorry.
Because ultimately you look at those situations where a guy can't pick up his kids, and like you said, ideally we should reform the system to where the police will inform that if they're called and be like, "Lady, you got to let him take his kids."
Yeah.
No, I mean, I disagree. This isn't like
you guys.
You don't want cops having to go literally take kids out of one parent's arm every time. This is, I disagree with that. I think you create more problems. Police enforcement of anything is always the potential for shit to go real bad.
Well, I don't see in this case. I don't think it would lead to we're going to somehow overuse police resources for it or anything. I think if it was actually recognized under the law that they should be enforced, just making sure that the parent complies with a handover. I think
it's
most
not a law.
It's
not a law. It's a court order is not a law. They're law enforcement, and I disagree. That's not. No, kids are not going to be better off having the police come in to enforce a court order every goddamn time. That's a disaster.
Well, I don't think it would be every time. I think if it was able to be done, I think most people would, by and large, get the message, and they wouldn't be trying to mess.
And
with
I think that
parenting
people would
over.
exploit it and go, "She's 10 minutes late. He's 5 minutes early. Whatever,
Well, then they'd end up back
Weird
in court at that point because you'd have you'd have both parties being in abuse of the order at that point.
No, you can abuse the spirit of something while technically playing within the guidelines, right?
ZD Den says, I left my first husband and took nothing. I'm not the one to ask. I didn't want to break him further than he broke himself. I also wanted to move on and not be bitter. So many bitter women after divorce. That's fucking based, honest. I got to be honest with you. That's awesome, ZD Den.
Well, that's the problem. Is like you have those mothers out there who do believe, and I think you even have probably a good portion of women in general who do believe that parental alienation is an acceptable form of punishment against the fathers.
I don't think that this is anybody's actual belief system, as you stated. I think that people are just emotional and petty. And
I'll go with
because where is the attitude there really coming from? It's coming from, oh, you had a bad relationship or a bad breakup with the mother. So this is, if you're not on good terms with me, you don't get to be on good terms with the kids. Like, yeah, that's the kind of petty attitude that's behind it, I think.
I mean, yeah, but that's just people being shitty. That has nothing to do with
shitty people. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. But I also think, is it not also accurate to say that to a large degree, women have been lied to by a portion of society, not all of it, but a portion of it, that if they divorce, they can walk out of a marriage anytime they want, take whatever they want, and the dude's just going to have to bend over and take it. And then they get that rude awakening when they actually hit the court system and see that it's not that way. There's that Taylor the Fiend has an entire channel devoted to these type of women that have been, literally lied to and told that they're going to come out with, they're going to take that dude for everything he has. They're going to take the kids. They're going to come out with a house. And then they find out that, no, you're not getting the house. The house is getting sold and you're getting some money and he's getting some money. And that's the end of it. Right.
Yeah.
And
I think so.
I think that can we agree that that's the lie that's being told to women? That's not being told to men. Men don't tell each other that. Men don't say, hey, if you walk out of this relationship right now, you're going to be way ahead, bro.
No, instead lawyers are going to be like, nah, you need to just give me a ton of money that you need to sink into an ongoing legal defense just to shore up your defenses and trust me.
It's interesting. Yeah, sure. I don't disagree with that.
Well, the lawyers want to they know it's easy. You can talk a lot of women into just about anything if you're a lawyer.
Yeah. No,
tell them there's money to be made. They'll believe a lawyer convincing them there's you got a good case and there's money to be made here and we can bleed them for all this, that, and the other.
Well, you have to interview lawyers like you do anybody else because, they're bad lawyers all over the place that are just will tell you whatever you want to hear to get that retainer.
Well, and a lot of divorce lawyers are with some exceptions when you have the incredibly based ones, but the James Sexton fella there. But a lot of divorce lawyers that I've met in my life are probably just this far above being an ambulance chaser.
I can't dispute that. I don't know. But I will also say that I have, I've known a couple of lawyers that probably fit that description, but they still, when it came to divorce cases, they tried to be as clear as they could with the women and men, because men think that too. Men also think, well, I'm going to leave her with nothing. As a matter of fact, so a couple of 3 years ago, I had a neighbor and he had a divorce and he had custody of his kid. And then he was dating this really stupid ass emotional girl. no idea. I mean, I have no idea what was going on there. And it was to the point where he actually turned his garage into a second living room, and that's where he hung out. Right? Now,
Well,
he
that's
never
like-
said, he never
That's why
said,
it's indoors.
right. He never said that him and her fighting or they couldn't be in the same room for any length of time together without fighting or whatever. He never came out and said that. But after I found, we were out talking one day. I was talking about, he was asking me about my boat or something, and he was reminiscing about going fishing with his dad and shit like that. And we just got to talking. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to sell. I'm putting my house up for sale, and me and I forget her fucking name, but we're done. She's left me. She's going to go do something else. She thinks she's going to take the kids and take me for a bunch of money, but I've been through this before, and that's not what's going to happen." And I'm pretty positive that he was he did exactly what he said he was going to do, and it was his house. She had nothing to do with it. Like, she never put any money into it. He was pretty prepared for that contingency, but I don't think they were married either. I could be wrong, but it was interesting. It wasn't really a divorce so much as she was going to seek custody of the kid that they had together and a bunch of money, child support and stuff like that from him. So, and I don't know how that ended up, but it was an interesting dynamic to listen to him talk about how he was going to take her to the cleaners. I don't know, but at any rate, it's all good. Mosman, what's up, buddy? How's the day? How's your evening?
It's been good, yeah. And I've been muted because I'm always trying to be mindful of the fact that not making noise or disturbing people while they're talking, but no, it's been good. I've been bouncing back and forth. I actually just popped into my Discord and realized that you sent me a link for the thing. So I'm sorry about being here so late. I was like been all over the place. But I did love because I was just on the tomatoes, and Chaotic Truth got in there and was with Melanie and said, I'm sorry, you're correct about that. I'm sorry, sir. I mean, ma'am. And you could just tell it was making the Furby. And then he's talking about white women. He's like, oh, well, white women cry about something and then we want to do something about it, and then you could just see the little,
I love CT, man.
I could see Mel doing that kind of thing where,
I really like CT's podcast. It's not for everybody, there's a certain amount of rawness to it.
Yeah.
It's raucous.
Yeah.
But I really like it, man. Really like it.
Well, I can appreciate people who are raucous and people who there's
you like black men raw.
Nobody wants that.
But yeah, no. So I mean, I appreciate people who, as Wally can attest, can be a little stern and
Mosman, you're married.
What are you talking about, John? I am a gentle teddy bear to all. I've seen the error of my ways. Maybe there is room in the church for feminism, John, and we're just
Whoa.
Although I have to share, I have to
pull that bus over to the.
I have to share something with Farning when I get a chance, because I saw right when we got off, I saw a news report about something that talked about the Pope talking about feminism, and I'm just like, after that we talked about this idea that that only happens in Protestant churches, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, now I got to get into that. Because Wally was in there for a little bit last night while I was on Teriax, and
this is why I'll be a lot of things, John, but going back to being a papist ain't one of them.
Right, exactly.
All right. That's funny.
But yeah,
it looks like I lost a few viewers.
For me being on here.
No, VK. I think VK just lit up.
Started, yeah.
I lost a panel member too. I must admit. over here asleep.
What were you? What was your the feminism in church? Was that the?
Oh no, that was just me being sarcastic about being a kinder and gentler person that I'll never be.
What's funny is they were talking about feminism. CT was with Sarah and all that, and I put something in the comment when I was in there, and I was like, here's the reality about feminism. It can only exist in a country that doesn't actually have a real patriarchy. because you don't have a feminist movement in countries, like
not
Iran.
for long.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
they have had those.
Well, yeah, I mean, Iran was
more
liberal back in the 60s, and then but then the Ayatollah took over. But yeah, no.
Yeah, it's an interesting. That's actually a really interesting discussion. I think that most people aren't willing to have. Is that at one point in time, Beirut was probably a bigger center of fashion than Paris was.
Beirut was, yep, and so was Tehran for a time.
Yeah,
it was considered the Paris of the Middle East, and they had some of the best medicine and then all that
great
went
universities.
Away. And that's why it's upsetting to me that we side with a certain country in their I don't think the leadership of the country is good, but a lot of people don't realize that Iran has been a country that's been through a civil war and is kind of now having has been for the last 30 years having a cold civil war. There's people who, it doesn't come to the point where they're able to get the.
You should listen, dude. You should listen to Fabian Liberty Scott's.
Yeah, I've heard him a couple of times when you were on.
But you should have heard his opening for this his debate tonight, which was interventionism versus isolationism, and how he talks about how we are not the police of the world. That he went all the way back to Eisenhower. And how I believe it was Eisenhower put that dude in charge of the IMF, which is the International Monetary not fund.
No, it's International Monetary Fund.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that's what created. Using that is what created a lot of these problems in those smaller countries, and how we decimate their monetary system and economies in favor of our own, and how it led to the creation of a lot of the bad shit that we've been dealing with. And he's like, for the last 70 years, we were going to bring peace to the Middle East, and we've never fucking done it. We've just had a lot of people.
They were never. They talked about peace, but it's never been about peace. It's been about is it has to do with what they call the 7-country initiative, and what they set out to do was to say, within a certain time frame, we're going to try to invade all 7 of these countries in the Middle East, which included Lebanon, and included Iran, Syria, Iraq.
Oh, the U.S. said that?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, interesting.
You look at Lebanon today; it barely functions as a country, and it's not just because of Hezbollah. They can't even maintain a government. I don't believe they have an official.
Well, but that's the problem with some of these extremist groups that come into these places, like Palestine and all that. Is like you saw what happened when. What was his name? Arafat took over, and it became, obviously, I mean, I think we have to be fair and honest and say Israel was never a good faith actor. They never have been in this situation. I think people who think that way are either letting their own personal religious convictions or their own personal, No, I'm telling you, man, it's, and I've gone through it. I've studied a lot of the different stuff, and that doesn't mean that there haven't been victims of terrorism. It doesn't mean that, but it does mean that there have been people and bad faith actors.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
but Arafat was never a good person to represent
a very specific claim.
Yeah.
Israel's always been very nationalist, and that doesn't make what they do bad faith.
No, what I'm saying is they're bad faith when it comes to the things that they have claimed to do. We know that Netanyahu has actually taken advantage of terrorism themselves, and he's allowed it to. I mean, there's a lot of different things that are out there about the things that he's done and allowed because they have an opportunity and an advantage to them. So, but the point is, once we realize, because this is the thing that I go back to, and I grew up Republican. I grew up idolizing Reagan. And then when I looked at what our foreign policy was, and I looked at what we did, and when you realize ever since we were we were trying to get the Soviet Union out of Afghanistan, we have always traded one terrorist cell for another, armed one for the other.
Yeah, but that's far.
And when you realize
that's
that
far
America
down
was
the
behind
pipe.
ISIS,
I mean, it goes back
ISIS,
way further. It goes
and that's
back
the reason
way
why
further.
they wanted Trump to take out Suleiman. And I always said that. I said to people, like, why did the United States want to take out Suleiman? Why would they do that when he is supposedly a terrorist, yet he's this Iranian general in Iraq hunting down ISIS? Why would we feel so pertinent that we'd have to take him out? And it's because he actually claimed on an interview that was done on, I think it was Al Jazeera, where he said, I have evidence to show that the United States is behind ISIS. And I think that's one of the reasons. I'm not saying it's the only reason, but I think it's one of the reasons they took him out.
It can't just be that his name was literally on the list of people that they wanted to take out when they.
Well, again,
when they had the opportunity.
Who was behind taking him out? It was the deep state that wanted him out, and Trump listened to the deep state in that instance and said, "Yep, I'm going to take him out for you," because I think he was trusting people like Mike Pompeo, who is a bad faith actor in my opinion, and I think again. There's not to say that he wasn't a scumbag. It's the same thing with Saddam Hussein. It's the same thing with Gaddafi, right? But if you think about it, when it goes back to like ISIS, a lot of what we saw that started with ISIS actually starts with what the United States State Department under Hillary Clinton was doing in Libya when they were arming terrorists to take out Gaddafi. And why were we trying to take out Gaddafi? It was because the neolibs and the neocons were on the same page. And they're advocating the same thing.
I just don't see that much conspiracy theory in it. I know that
I
Flo
do.
does. Flo does
fuck.
for 100%.
Yeah.
Flo loves this.
I mean,
shit.
if we look at the number of deaths, and I'm rolling off memory, so this will be imperfect, but
sure.
Over the
Don't
last
worry
like 30 years, the number of Palestinians to Israelis killed in conflict, it's like 115 to 1. Right. So the idea that the Palestinians are getting slaughtered at this degree relatively, but are still the ones initiating the fight, it just doesn't hold any logical water at all.
Yeah, it's like as far as like how a lot of things tie into like the state of a lot of things currently, I definitely agree. I mean, you look at Israel right now, the reality is, because if a lot of people don't follow a lot of the regular news, about half of the country protests against Netanyahu on a fairly regular basis for the past like half a year or more. He's not a very beloved person in Israel. What is beloved about him is his position on where Israel's borders should be. That's ultimately what people love about him. That's what keeps him in power, because they fear the possibilities of a deal that would be much worse for them being signed under another PM's watch that would not be allowed by him. That's really where a lot of the loyalty bent towards him comes from.
Right. And again, if you look at what we've done in countries, you look at what we did in because a lot of the people who were in Libya, a lot of the people that stem out of that, where we gave the weapons to, became known as ISIS. And if you recognize, ISIS started as soon as started being active in Iraq right after the situation in Libya. Now, part of that could be, you could say, they were they are motivated by these type of situations when they see this? Sure, I'm sure they could be, right? But to think that it's one way or the other, that's like Susan Rice getting on and saying, well, it was an instant reaction to a video about Mohammed. No, it wasn't. The United States, under the guise of the State Department, was arming people, terrorists in Libya, to take out Gaddafi. And why did they want to take out Gaddafi? Because he was a secular Muslim. He was a secularist, and so why would we take those out? Why would the Obama White House go after and support the Muslim Brotherhood in places like Egypt during the Arab Spring? A lot of it has to do with neoliberal policies. And what they wanted to do was, Gaddafi said, look, Africa needs to start its own union, like that of the European Union, so that we can all have a standardized money system, so that we can start being able to provide these services for ourselves where we don't have to rely on other countries. And then the other thing is, Gaddafi had a shit ton of gold, and he said, we need to start doing, if we do this, we have to start creating this currency based on a gold standard. Well, that instantly goes against the United States interests, because it would have destabilized the dollar in places like Africa and also the Middle East.
But so here's my thing on this, and all of those are well-made points, but here's my position.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have been there in the first place.
I agree.
We should be isolationist.
Yeah.
We literally, the very idea that we have some moral or financial or whatever duty to go into these places is ridiculous. The idea that it's vital to our national security that Iran doesn't turn Iraq into glass is absurd.
Right.
Honestly, I think, to be honest with you, I kind of regret the idea that we didn't let Russia take over Afghanistan. That would have drained their resources that much faster, and they'd be, honestly, Russia would be a even weaker paper tiger than they are today. Geopolitically, I think we like to play a lot of what if games, and like to see and there's a uniqueness in the American persona that sees conspiracy theory everywhere.
Right. But I also think that
we like it. Right. And that's okay. I'm not saying, look, hey, I like conspiracy theory too. I love it.
Well, but here's the thing. It's a conspiracy theory if you haven't examined all the aspects of it. And so
you can't examine all aspects of it.
Well,
it's impossible to know.
You can examine enough to be able to make a logical conclusion about something, just like we did with COVID.
Well, this is the problem, though. You can say, well, I've examined all of X evidence, and I have come to this logical conclusion.
Yeah.
And I can say, yeah, you know what? But I have this other piece of evidence, or I find all of this entire line of evidence complete garbage.
Okay.
And now my conclusion is different than yours. And this is the problem that we have when we're dealing with these specific issues. I'm an isolationist, man. We just shouldn't be there. We should not be doing it.
But I think part of understanding how we got there is us acknowledging the reason why it happened. And a lot of it happened because of the industrial war complex. A lot of it happened because when we got out of World War II and we saw how it generated income for us, we saw that we created a completely, a lot of things changed for America after World War II that were good and bad. And so these things fueled these things. That's why Eisenhower warned on his last day, basically, of the industrial war complex. And again, we have this policy, our foreign policy has been dictated and have been allowed. And when you realize that the only reason why we do things is because our politicians have been bought off by lobbyists that support the interest of another country that doesn't really have our best interest, I think it's fair to say that that is a legitimate concern and a problem, and to just outright dismiss it. Now, I'm not saying take what I'm saying with as gospel truth. What I'm saying is I can explain why I think what I think. You can explain what you think is think, and we can have a conversation, and that's a good thing. But I agree with you. Yes, hardcore conservative, paleo-conservative values are all stenched in isolationism, and so that's one of the reasons why. This is why we have to call out the neocons and why the conservative movement, even though I don't agree with a lot of things with nationalist movement or the populist movement, I do agree that they're right in this instance, that the neocons are a problem and have been a problem for the right. They don't reflect true conservative values, just as the neoliberal movement doesn't actually represent what Democrats and liberals used to value 20, 30 years ago.
But that's the fallacy, though. You're saying that the values have changed, and yet you're also saying that the same values are what got us here in the first place. So no, actually the values haven't changed. The problem is the values need to change, but we're stuck in this 1940s, 1950s ideal of if we don't do something about the Middle East, it's going to be a big problem for us. Oh my gosh, they have nuclear weapons. Oh wow, they're terrorists. Oh, all of this stuff. And it's just really stupid for us to continuously do it. And I just don't. I'm actually really tired of being the stupid Americans. I'm really sick of it. I'm really sick of spending all the money. I'm really sick of spending all of the time. Right. I'm really sick of spending all of the lives that are lost.
Did you see that meme I sent you?
What's that?
The meme I sent you on the private DM on Discord, where it was like giving the money to the DEI and giving the money to like Ukraine, and then they're like, "Oh, where we got where's the water at when we need it to fight?" It's like,
oh, maybe did I?
I don't know. But I did send it to you. I thought that was pretty apt.
Yes. I like it. I like it. Yeah. Endless funding for everything except the shit we actually need.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think when you look at the history of a lot of those groups don't exist because they have a feasible ideology or some kind of like good societal prescription for where they live. They exist to fight proxy wars.
Right.
That's what we've used them for in modernity, is to fight proxy wars.
Right. And I mean, John, I love you, brother, but fucking Roosevelt got us into World War II because it made his dick hard. No other reason.
I'm sure that's I'm sure that's a big reason.
Okay,
I'm sure it's a big reason.
Grit, maybe
I'm sure there's more reasons than that.
But what reasons got us into World War II may not necessarily be the same reasons why we stayed into becoming an industrial war.
But it is. Exactly. Roosevelt, FDR knew that he did everything possible to drag us into the war. When it didn't work, when we wouldn't go to war with Germany.
Right. And why did we go into war?
We would not do that. What did he do? He threatened, the mere threat of turning off the oil and gas flowing to Japan was enough to the Japanese took that as a sign of war. We hadn't even actually done it yet.
Yeah.
We just said we're going to have to limit the amount of fuel, oil, and gas that we sent. And FDR did that on purpose.
Right.
To get us into the war.
Right. It's no different.
Because there was no other way that we were going to do it. The American people weren't going to do it. And he ignored. Remember, he told all the admirals not to reinforce Pearl Harbor.
Right. Well, they knew about it beforehand. They knew about it beforehand.
Even though at that time the Pacific was more or less, there wasn't anything going on over there. We had plenty of. We had eliminated a lot of the submarines. We weren't losing Liberty ships. We could crank out Liberty ships to like no tomorrow. Like there was no reason to say don't reinforce Pearl Harbor. And yet
they got information ahead of time too, as well. They knew about it. We know.
Yeah, they didn't withhold it they didn't act. I don't want to get into too much conspiracy there. I don't know that they withheld it, but they didn't.
There was a report that
they didn't give credit to it. They marginalized it. I think that's the best word. And so a lot of men lost their lives because FDR wanted to be in World War II.
Yeah.
Specifically for two reasons. First, to pump up the military-industrial complex.
Yep.
And second, he really, really, really thought it would lead us to communism.
Right. And he wanted us to
he wanted to turn the U.S. communist. He absolutely did.
Don't you think it advanced communism and
it absolutely did,
especially in Europe? If we look at the outcomes of World War II, it basically unified and socialized Europe. Right. So it's the war for Europe.
If we had stayed out of the war,
the Nazis were the biggest threat to communism in Europe, and that's why what we've seen throughout history in the Ukraine has always been this kind of interesting dynamic where there's always been this war between the Nazis and the communists in the Ukraine, and and for us to get involved in that is an interesting topic all in its own. But what I'm trying to say though is that there are things
we can't separate. It all begins. Everything we're rolling along smooth,
right?
After World War I, we learned our lesson. We're like, no more fucking world wars. We're not sending hundreds of thousands of young men off to die.
Right.
We're not fucking doing that anymore. Yeah. And FDR said, my dick just isn't going to get hard unless we go to fucking war, boys.
Well, you know what? Well, you know what, Grid? We all got the last laugh on FDR because he may have done all of it to get his dick hard, but I don't think he could ever feel it.
That's true. I was waiting. Honestly, Wally, I got to be honest with you. I was waiting for someone to say, well, he was paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah, I didn't want to dignify that.
I was going to say it the first time, but then we got going good with it. So I'm waiting.
No. We got to make sure that we get that. But I mean, isn't it an incredible story that nobody knows? That FDR purposefully pushed us into war.
Well, and then there's the other dynamic,
that's the norm. Can you name one war the U.S. has been in that was not started by a false flag?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Civil War wasn't false flag.
I don't actually know exactly what was what pushed that over the edge.
The South had seceded. They've been operating as a separate state for a year. The North thought that the South would fold in the first 6 months.
There wasn't like a shot heard around the world or any.
No, Fort Sumter. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so the Union Army was told that if they crossed the Mason-Dixon line and went into North Carolina, that was an act of war.
Mm-hmm.
They were invaded at that point. The United States Army was invading another country, which was the Confederate States. They invaded. This is also the only time the United States has invaded a country on its own soil. They invaded the South.
What about Chaz?
Well, they didn't have, I don't know. Anyway, so they went down to they marched. They were, in theory, they were only supposed to stop, turn around, and go back. They didn't.
Right.
The South was doing all of the things the nation does. Hey, you cross our borders, it's an act of war. If you don't leave, you got to go. They went and fired on Fort Sumter, that was the end of it.
Yeah, and I think but you're right, Flo. Most of the wars that we've seen in the 20th century,
that's the only one I can think of. That's the only one I can think of.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Gulf of Tonkin. I mean, the Boston Tea Party,
the Maine.
That's all.
But FDR was especially evil, though, because he knew that the United States, he did everything possible.
Well, actually, I would say this, Flo. If you would say there was actually a false flag in the Revolutionary War, it would have actually been what we call the Boston Massacre.
Yeah.
Because everything that was reported on the situation, everything that was talked about was completely taken out of context, and it was completely done. So you probably have to close down now, aren't you? You usually close at 10.
I like to be punctual and close out around 11, but it's good conversation. It's been great, actually. I really like getting it. Do you know why the Japanese agreed to join the Axis?
Why is that?
Because we were bombing them. I don't know.
No, they joined the Axis before that.
Yeah, they joined.
Didn't it have to do with China?
Partially, yeah. So they were the reason they were occupying China before the war even started. What they wanted to do is they wanted to drive across China and India and go north into Mongolia and further east into Turkey and all the stands for oil.
Yeah.
They didn't have it, and they were sick of being dependent on all other countries for oil. And so the deal they made with Hitler, supposedly, I mean, who knows, really, but the deal they supposedly made with Hitler is if they could drive, Hitler was trying to drive west over the mountains and pinch, and basically they were going to push the Soviets back up north into the frozen north, and the stands were going to be divided between actually I think they were supposed to go to Japan, and then Germany wanted all of Africa.
Right. See, that's a lot more logical than what I would have thought. When you said Mongolia, I was going to stop there and think that they're just still so salty over the attempted Mongol invasions that the emperor just wanted.
Well, they do hold on to shit.
Yeah, really I figured, okay, so the emperor wants a footpath to go personally piss on Kublai Khan's grave. Is that what they're going for?
That's pretty. China invaded Japan like 4 times with massive fleets.
Yeah.
And because of the storms and the rocky coast of Japan, they were never able to even make a beachhead.
No. Yeah.
And we're talking massive.
And then it's amazing to think about how Japan was able to take over China as much as they were able to, during
as many times as they were able to.
Yeah. And then
they have occupied China at least twice that we've got pretty good records of.
But I think what's interesting is the other thing I think is probably an interesting element to look into is all the Western interests that we had in Shanghai, because Shanghai was like Hollywood. It was like the West. It was like the Hollywood of the Orient, and they were always playing American movies, and they had like clubs that were like where people would dress like Americans, and Shanghai was actually mostly expats and mostly foreign nationals.
It was pretty Western. You're right.
Yeah. And so when
Bangkok, Bangkok was very Western.
Yeah, and so when Japan invaded Shanghai and all that, that was a huge.
I'm literally shocked that Flo hasn't repeated Bangkok like 10 times.
Don't worry, I've been doing it in my head.
You gotta see that coming, right? But I'm gonna read this super chat before I forget about it. And it falls off and is no longer kind of practical. $5 for Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics. Thank you, sir. FDR took our gold. Got to read it in that prospector voice. Content to drop very soon. Finally got a new camera. Way to go, Mr. Boulay. If you don't know, FDR was an evil motherfucker. He actually. Not only did he take us off the gold standard, he also seized gold. He made it illegal.
That wasn't FDR, was it? That was Nixon.
Yeah.
Nixon.
No. FDR seized the gold.
No, he seized the gold. Nixon took us off the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's gold standard, but yeah, no. They made FDR made it illegal to own the gold,
Right.
which is weird. Like, why would you? It sounds very. This sounds like somewhere else. Where was that? Oh yeah, Nazi Germany. Yeah. Mr. Boulay confirms FDR seized Nixon, took us off.
Have you heard about the real reason why Frank Baum wrote The Wizard of Oz, Grid?
No, I haven't. I'm
It's
not a big
it's a central bank, Alan.
It's an allegory about the banking system and about how, because so what happens in the book is that Dorothy doesn't have ruby slippers, right? She has silver. And so she has to follow the gold, the yellow brick road, which is gold, to the Emerald City, which is the money.
Right.
And it's about following the gold standard. And then when she realizes she doesn't get what she's looking for by following the gold standard, the witch tells her she has to click her silver heels together. And it's the silver that takes her back home, meaning we should go back to the silver standard.
Get your silver.
Neat.
So
I like that
people don't know
Flo
about
just
that
keeps
one.
a bar of silver floating around.
I keep also. I got a
Are you
sword.
going to tell me again does it also have something to do, John, with that the witch is dissolved by water and she has green skin, analogous to the U.S. dollar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that what that's illustrating is that you can wash out your dollar bills and reprint them with a higher denomination.
Yep. And that did happen. We saw that happen in
Yeah.
history and
That absolutely did happen. Well, it's been an interesting and varied conversation this fine evening. Is there anything that you guys want to cover really quick before we do final comments and all of that? Final thoughts?
Isolationism is based.
I know, right?
I will say this: we have to realize that a lot of the propaganda of us going to war was behind a certain demographic of people in Hollywood that were doing that. And if you look at almost every of like the Disney cartoons, and you look at almost like all these different, when you start looking at just how, people, because people think, oh yeah, in the last, 5 or 6 years or 7 years, Hollywood's gotten woke and political. No, it's always been that way.
Yeah, it kind of has been, yeah.
And they've always pushed, and you see a lot of the propaganda all the way through, and it's a sad thing because, Jefferson was asked by, I believe it was Hamilton, because Hamilton thought, he was a bastard, by the way. Hamilton thought that we should get involved with.
Hamilton was a crook. He wasn't a bastard. He was a crook.
Okay, well, I'm trying to be at least nice, but yeah, he's an. I mean.
Well, one man's crook is probably some woman's bastard, Grid.
Yeah, probably. and let's be honest, like how he died is so epic, right? It's so great. But he was talking about how the importance of us going into France and helping them out, because again, Hamilton was the one that said we have to get involved in foreign wars and foreign affairs, and we have to start borrowing money from foreign countries so that we can build credit. And Jefferson's like, no, we'd just be trading one type of allegiance to another. We just became free. Why do we want to become a nation of war? And unfortunately, I think as the history of America progressed, especially after the Civil War, we had more of a country built off of the ideas of Hamilton than of Jefferson. And even though Jefferson isn't all the things that all these David Barton fanboys think he is, I think he was right. As well as Washington, when he said, do not divide into two separate political parties. When we start developing political parties, we're going to have a problem. So, yeah.
I'm glad my specific wording didn't fly by you, John, and you caught it when I said one man's crook is another woman's bastard, because in many cases the crook has a single mom.
That's true. That is true. It's an interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting stuff. Why don't we get some final thoughts from Clover Tack Down? If he's still awake, he's taking an old man nap, I would guess, but he may not be.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I don't have anything. I've had a front row seat to the conversation in the last fucking hour, whatever it's been. It's been kind of cool. So
cool, man.
Everybody have a good weekend. Yeah, that's all
yeah,
I got
you
to
too,
say.
man. Have a great weekend.
If you were snoring, you had a damn effective suppressor on.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, dead air. It's dead air, man. Dead air.
Dead air.
That's a grease trap.
Yeah, sure. Mosman, final thoughts, bro.
Yeah, just final thoughts is, again, thanks for letting me come up and send in the link. I always appreciate our talks. You know, even though you and I, we have our disagreements, you know, you're always a good sport for a good conversation. And that's what I appreciate about you, Grid. And Wally, it's always good to see you. And Flo, I've been in a couple of your streams, and I know you actually had a stream one time where you were talking about me with Grid. And
I was.
Yeah, you're like, look at this guy who made this video for Grid.
Oh, I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I mean, I don't doubt it. I got a shitty memory. That probably did happen. But you should come by more. You're based in a way that Grid can only hope to understand.
Well, I appreciate it.
He means you're a good conspiracy theorist, and he loves it.
That is what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Wally, what do you got?
This was fun. Me and Grid both got to do a better job remembering the nights I'm off, that I got more time to come up.
Yeah.
By the way, sick shirt. I didn't say anything to you. Woo!
Woo!
That's fine.
And incidentally, Flow State, you have the same positions with the father's rights argument as Furby, so I don't know if it's just that you have a better discussion without screaming, or you need to change your position.
What Furby thinks that it's fair?
Yes.
Furby, there's no way that Furby and I agree on something.
Nope, Furby was given those arguments, so it was nice to hear them without all the screaming, but you probably shouldn't hold the same position.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, right is right, and it's kind of absurd. I mean, you just got to read a law. Read the law how it's written. They're all written fairly, and then after that, anybody's complaints is just like a vibe thing, right? Like, well, I feel like, well, nobody feels like they're being treated fair when they're dealing with courts and law enforcement. Everybody walks away from that shit pissed off. So
it's interesting because I think that more than likely the Furby just copied Flo, because why wouldn't?
I've never discussed this. It actually does a little bit bug me to think that we might have the same position on anything, but I'm definitely
right is right.
Right is right.
Right, close enough is good enough. Well, I'm sorry you're missing verbal combat, Wally.
I like being able to discuss these things without irrational screaming, so that's refreshing.
Yeah, that's why this isn't verbal combat. But I am sorry I'm keeping you from verbal combat.
No,
I thought you would have pieced out by now. So.
No, you're good. I didn't think the start time was getting pushed back that far, so I was just chilling. It's like I'm free. I'm free. You were open. I'm right. I came right up.
Sweet, man.
It'll probably be running for another 14 hours or so, though. So you got time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it didn't start till 11:30, it's like after the intros and everything, bell time's another like 15, 20 minutes, and then we're gonna be doing that till like 7 a.m. with that much of a late start.
I know. That's crazy, man.
But definitely gotta make sure I pop up here with you more often, Grid. We can get into more of this. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Flow State, what do you got?
What time is it? I'm feeling kind of
20 on the East Coast.
Who knows? I may end up getting squirrely and doing something later, but right now I don't have anything planned.
Glenn's live. You should go over and bug him.
I might go bug Glenn. I hate Glenn with his shaved face. He looks like a little pussy. And I've told him that. But I guess my only parting advice would be 2 fingers, 2 knuckles deep, and push up.
We're not wrong. And he's out. All right. Ladies and gentlemen that are left in the chat, if you haven't already bugged out of here and gone somewhere else, I really appreciate you staying the whole time. If you were new here, if Moonchild, I think it was, if you're still in the chat, glad to have you here. Hope we didn't scare you too much. The topics were a little odd, not odd, but controversial tonight, which is fun and great. And it's just a bunch of man prattle. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to send you over to Glenn's, where you can hang out with Glenn and Michelle. As I always say, be cool, wear glasses if you need them, and get off my lawn.
I am everywhere. I am inside each and every single one of you. You just look in, and I will be there, waving out at you, naked, wearing only